live stream going, so bear with me. Why is it saying that? Okay, okay, I get what we're saying there. So we're going to be talking about a host of Trump's promises. How many days is left before he gets office? 9, I think it is. Uh, I'll just type. We're going to be asking, do you believe he will deliver? I mean, now we got 5 of the top promises. Now, Trump has promised to do some of everything on day one, but we're going to go with 5 of them. And I want to get your opinion on this if I can. Damn, if I can get my device going, so bear with me almost a minute here. We should be going in less than a minute. Let me see here. I hate having to do this every day, but this is what we do, and this is how we make it work. Otherwise, I could just go on, but we'd be missing the stream. And there's a lot of folks the who prefer the horizontal stream on YouTube. So that's what we're getting. That's what we're working on here right now as you guys are beginning to filter in. So give me about another 60 seconds, and we should have the show on the road. Make sure I got everything here. Settings. I think we got everything in there. Okay. And you have to always tell them for some damn reason it's not made for kids. YouTube does not like you putting on a show without telling them if it's made for kids. You know, we do talk about the goings on in America. So, yeah, what we talk about is often not necessarily kid friendly. So I get it. I get it. So, having said that, I'll go ahead and make sure my YouTube stream is up, which it does appear to be so. And you guys, I'm actually a little bit earlier than I wanted to be here, but all right, we're good to go. So I'll go ahead and get it started on TikTok in 3, 2, 1. What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. What is it? 9 days? 9 days or so before President Trump is our 47th president. We're going to be, as you see, the live stream is titled, Can Trump Deliver? Do you believe Trump will deliver? Now, the phrase day one has come out of Trump's mouth so many times at so many different rallies. I don't care to recite them all, but we do know he's promised to deliver a host of things, as he says often, on day one. So what we're going to be talking about is, and I see in the comments, Mark Connor says he's going to deliver failure. Wow. Good evening to you, Angelo, being one of the first ones in here. What up to you? We're going to be asking is, do you believe he will indeed deliver on some of the promises he's made? Now, as I stated, Trump has made so many promises that we're not even going to begin to tackle them all. Being candid, I don't even remember them all. I'm sure many of his promises will come up during this program, because we will end up doing probably a quarterly, or if not an annually show, asking, how close has he come on some of his promises? Is he likely to fulfill this promise? Is it bullshit? We'll talk about all of that. But we're going to certainly today, I got 5 of Trump's promises, and then a special one. We're going to ask these 5 promises that Trump has made. These are things he's talked about doing at various rallies. So we're going to talk about whether you think he will successfully complete these promises, or do you think, as I stated, do you think he's just full of shit and making promises that he cannot meet? So starting out, number 1 being, and I do believe that there is some strong merit to this. This is President Trump promising the largest deportation in history. What are the chances he will deliver? As I said, the whole program is titled, Can We Depend on Trump? Can we depend on President Trump to deliver the largest deportation in history? There's 5 of these I'm going through. That's number 1. Number 2, and I do believe number 1 has merit to it, but you guys can certainly correct me where you may think I'm wrong. We'll talk about that. I don't know if it's telling me the connection. I'll go ahead and switch to Wi-Fi on my TikTok because it's saying it's an unstable connection. Number two, a better economy. We all voted for Trump to improve the economy, but there's a breakdown to the economy. You know, we're talking about lowering the price of groceries and lowering the price of eggs. These are the things that the liberals got hammered on. So folks are going to be looking for under Trump to see the price of eggs go down, see the price of groceries go down, because these are the things they were targeting under the liberals. And of course, $2 gas. Remember, the gas prices shot up and the liberals are getting hammered for the price of fuel under Biden. So right off the bat, if Trump doesn't drop or if the price of fuel doesn't go down, they're going to target Trump for that because he was targeting his adversary for it. So number two is, can he give us a better economy? Number three, now we're talking about conflicts that the United States doesn't necessarily have total control over, but Trump did promise to end the Ukraine-Russian war in 24 hours. You can't blame the American people for holding a politician accountable for something he promised. He actually promised to do this. So I don't think anybody believes he's going to succeed at that, but he did promise to do that. He's on video stating that he could even do it before entering the Oval Office. So he's only got like 8 or 9 days. Today is what, Monday? So Tuesday of next week, he's president. So he has essentially 8 days left. And he stated he could end that war if he was elected before entering the Oval Office. I don't think anybody believes he's going to deliver on that, but we're going to bring it up because he did promise to do it. Also, reduce crime. Now, I don't know how a federal, commander-in-chief could reduce crime in the inner cities, but once again, you can't fault the constituents for holding a candidate responsible for something he promised to do. Trump promised to bring down crime. One way he promised to do it is by giving police immunity from prosecution. He also talked about bringing back stop and frisk. We'll talk about it. Last but not least, I want to play you guys a clip of this before we start taking calls and going to the comment section. This is, I don't know, for some reason I don't clear my damn screen, but I want to play you a clip from Trump himself. And considering I just X'd out the screen, I'm going to have to bring it up. But I want you to hear his fifth promise, because if I tell you what it is, you ain't gonna believe me. So I'm gonna have to play it for you. But with such a slow computer, we'll give it a chance to come up. And while I'm bringing that up, I'll look at your comments. Convicted felon, what does that say there, Sarge? You says convicted felon, fake 47, made it clear that he can't decrease food and gas prices. Well, and thank you, Creed. Salute to you as well. You can't promise to lower the price of food and groceries if you get elected. Then once you get elected, start talking about you can't do it. You're going to be held accountable whether you can or you cannot do it because you promised to do it. So it doesn't matter if he can do it or not. There are way too many videos floating around with him saying he could do it. So you don't got into the office and you realize you can't do it. It's too late. I mean, you should have knew that before you got there. So if he does start saying that he cannot reduce the price of groceries, then that's going to be considered a failure on his part because he absolutely did promise to do it. So, all right, I'm going to see if I can cue this up after this slight ad. This is on YouTube, and then we'll go straight to taking calls. I don't know why they always play these long-ass commercials, but I don't know what I'm looking at. Mint commercial. Okay, so looking at the comments, how will he be held accountable? Well, he could be held accountable in 2028 when the midterms come up. If he makes promises about a bunch of shit and he don't deliver it, then when the midterms come up in 2028, he can be turned instantly into a lame duck. Also, he could be held accountable by hurting his own party. So, I mean, there's going to be little elections, big. I mean, he could really bring pain down upon the Republican Party. Just like Biden, many would suggest that Biden has brought problems down on the Democrat Party. So that's how he would be held accountable. If he make a bunch of promises and he does not successfully fulfill them, he will hurt elections in the future. And like I said, if he lose really bad in the midterms, then the last 2 years of his presidency, he may find it very difficult to achieve anything. This is number 5. This is President Trump. I gave you the first 4 things he's promised. This is number 5. I'm only playing it because nobody would believe me if I said it.
Part of our new credentialing body for teachers, we will promote positive education about the nuclear family, the roles of mothers and fathers, and celebrating rather than erasing the things that make men and women different and unique. I will ask Congress to pass a bill establishing that the only genders recognized by the United States government are male and female, and they are assigned at birth. The bill will also make clear that Title IX prohibits men from participating in women's sports, and we will protect the rights of parents from being forced to allow their minor child to assume a gender which is new and an identity without the parents' consent. The identity will not be new, and it will not be without parental consent. No serious country should be telling its children that they were born with the wrong gender, a concept that was never heard of in all of human history. Nobody's ever heard of this, what's happening today. It was all when the radical left invented it just a few years ago.
Now, I'm going to tell you, I know a lot of folks may agree with what he's saying, but what are we claiming that what is he actually promising in that video? He's essentially promising that he will end the recognition of transgender people. So I've talked about this before, that if Trump becomes president, the transgender folks are going to go away. And I was being told it was fear-mongering. Well, you hear him here stating that he will have Congress, he will try to have Congress pass a law that you can only be one of 2 genders. And you can only have that gender that you had at birth. So if you're born a boy, you have to go by, the gender of being a boy for the rest of your life. Essentially meaning that the government will not recognize your ability to transition. Going back to what I said, that if Trump becomes president, the transgender community, at least in the eyes of government, is going to go away. They're not going to allow you to do it. So I got told I was fear-mongering, but as you hear him on video state, he's going to tell Congress that there's only 1 or 2 genders. There's only 2 genders, male or female, and those are assigned at birth. So you can't be 18 years old and decide to come out and decide you want to be a woman. If you were born a boy, you will be a boy for the rest of your life. Now, like I said, everybody accused me of fear-mongering when I said that if he gets elected, the transgender community is going to go away. But there you have it. So I'm not saying that you still won't have men walking around in dresses and women walking around identifying as men. But I'm saying in the eyes of government, you can no longer transition according to Trump. So he is doing everything he can in terms of federal power to make that community go away. So will he deliver on these promises? Last but not least, I told you guys I had a little kind of a side one. I don't know what's going on TikTok, but it's screwing with the numbers. I mean, it's got 0 right now, so I don't know what's going on with TikTok. I'll give it a moment. But the last one, when I say will he deliver, I'm asking a simple question. I don't know where to go with this or how it should be viewed, but I'm asking, do you believe that it's possible, certainly from hearing Trump speak, do you believe that Trump will expand or grow the size of America? Now, you've heard him talking about Greenland. You've heard him talking about Canada being the 51st state. You've heard him talking about Panama. You've heard him talking about the Gulf of Mexico being ours. Do you believe that do you think there's a possibility that Trump will expand the size of America, the size of the United States? Will he deliver? That's what we're talking about. So going straight to the comment section, I don't know what's going on with TikTok. We'll see what happens, but it's been problematic. No, he won't, says SGB72. Well, if you guys are saying that Trump will not expand the size of America, then you do sound like you believe all of the Greenland and Panama Canal and Gulf of Mexico talk is a farce. because he stated the Gulf of Mexico was ours. It belongs to us. So he's talking about claiming that. So that would be our body of water. Obviously, he's talking about purchasing Greenland. Obviously, he's talking about taking control of the Panama Canal and making Canada the 51st state. So if you're saying no, sounds like you believe that Trump is just talking out the side of his neck, perhaps. So anyhow, we're going to go straight to the box asking the question, will Trump deliver? I mean, he's made a whole lot of promises. Will he actually follow through? 11 and 9 I think that says, good evening, welcome to the program. 11 is, what is the name there?
My name is Nina.
Nina, okay. So what do you think? Do you think Trump will indeed deliver on what he is proposing?
Hey, how are you doing, Anselm? So yes, most of the things, yes, I believe that he will do it better than Biden is doing right now.
Well, some of these things, yeah, in regards to comparing them to Biden, maybe on deportation and things like that, he might beat Biden. But some of the stuff he's promising, Biden has never promised it. So you can't, like, for instance, him talking about he wants to end the recognition of the transgender community. Biden has never promised to do that. So, of course, he should do better than Biden because Biden does not want to end the transgender community from being recognized. Also, reducing crime in inner cities. How do you think he'll be able to do that?
I'm not sure about that because that's up to the people, man. That's up to the people. You know, you can find crazy people everywhere. I don't think that's under his hand, but I can tell you from the economy-wise and things like that, about the Greenland and Canada, I don't know, man. That's a little tough.
So you give it, I only got 5. You're admitting when it comes to reducing crime and when it comes to taking over Greenland, you're already admitting at least 2 of those you don't even believe in.
Crimes, I'll tell you, crimes is on people, brother. Okay, if somebody's crazy, have things going on in his mind and he wants to do something bad, then he's going to do it. And I don't think Trump has some power over that.
Right. I don't disagree with you at all, but the question is, why do you think he's saying it then? Why do you think he's telling people about how the Democrats aren't controlling crime and he's going to get it under control? If you're saying what you're saying, and I totally agree with you, that is up to the people and it's up to the small towns and in urban areas, why is he telling people he's going to get it down?
I guess it's motivation, like, you know,
motivation to be dishonest.
I mean, you know, politicians, they do all the time. They do things that just can make them grow a little bigger.
But whatever happened to Trump is not a typical politician. You're making it sound like he just one of the rest of them.
No, because here's the thing. He lost more money than any other politician that runs for president. I don't know how is that happening, but it's happening. I don't know. He's keep losing more money than before.
Who is losing money?
Trump.
How is he losing money?
Trump lost a lot of money during his to run for president.
Where did the money go?
I mean, I don't know. You tell me. You know.
Then if you don't know where the money went, how do you know he actually lost it?
Because I do search for net worth and stuff like that.
You know,
I only been in this country for about 11 years. Mm-hmm. I'm already a citizen. I'm all the way from Iraq, but I can tell you that much. But I think about the Greenland. I think if they make a vote, I think they'll, you know, if it's up on people, I think they'll vote the United States. Also for Canada, I think Canada is doing very bad. I have 3 uncles and 2 aunties all over Canada, and they're all hurting.
You think Canadians want to be part of America?
I think it's 50-50 on that, if you tell me.
Wow.
I would think it's 50-50. I've been to Canada many times.
But what makes you think America would be any better for Canada than what they have now?
I mean, everything. Imagine if they come a state, they can benefit a lot from the United States. and we can also benefit from them.
What does Canada not have right now that becoming a 51st state of America they would get? What do they stand to gain by becoming part of us?
Food.
Huh?
Food.
Food? They starving?
They get their food from California.
Okay, I don't. They're not having a problem with food in Canada though. They don't need to become part of it
because it will be cheaper. Then they have to pay border tax and stuff like that to clearance all that. And if they're a state, they don't have to pay that border state.
So they're going to give up. They're going to give up their entire sovereignty so they can get a discount on food. That's all they get is
that's not the only thing. Of course, they're going to benefit more than that.
Give me something better than food. Give me something better than food.
Okay.
You're giving up your entire independence. You're giving all of that up. What is worth doing that?
Okay, so I'll tell you, based on Canadians, they can also choose where they want to live. That's also benefit for the citizens of Canada. Okay, first of all. Second of all, we can both make money. They have natural resource a lot, especially water, and they can't touch a lot of oil resorts in Canada. So when America takes over, we can touch those. Then that's another income for Canada.
So the only thing they're really getting is financial. You seeing some financial benefits. I mean, I don't know. I have not heard this huge push to become part of America so you could travel and end up getting, cheaper food or something like that. Now, you said you're in Iraqi, right? You said you're from Iraq?
Yeah, I'm a Syrian from Iraq.
Okay.
Yes.
How do you feel about President Trump?
I feel good. I feel better than Biden.
When did you, how long have you been in America?
I've been since 2014.
2014. I want you to hear this clip. Now, I mean, are you Christian?
Yes.
Okay, because I want you to hear this clip and give me your opinion on it.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what the hell is going on.
Now, you being from Syria, I'm assuming most of the citizens of that country are Muslim, right?
No, I'm Assyrian from Iraq. Assyrian.
Okay, but
Assyrians like Chaldeans.
Okay, but where the location you are from, most of the people there are Muslim, right?
Yes.
Do you agree with Trump that most of the people that come from where you came from should be banned from coming to the United States?
I think for the most part, yes, because they slaughter us. They slaughter us as a Christian, as just being a Christian. Like that's basically just you being Christian. You're gonna be disrespected everywhere in the government. Anywhere you go to do your paperwork, as a driver license and stuff like that.
But how do they even know that? Do you go around yelling out, "I believe in God"? How do they know your religion?
No, they have it on your ID. They write Christian. It's like that in Iraq. They write on your ID that you are Christian. Also from your name. From your name, they know you.
Do you actually have to tell them what? I mean, if you told them you were a Muslim,
you know how hard was it when also Saddam was there? People used to put like Arab name to us, to Assyrians. They used to put Arab name just so they can, not have a hard time doing whatever they need to do as a citizen, I can tell you, like the native. That's how we are. We are the native of Iraq.
How do you respond? How do you respond to something like I got a viewer in the program is saying that you should go back to your country and fight on behalf of your religion? How do you respond to something like that? I mean, if you're saying that Christians are being slaughtered, why leave the remaining Christians there to be slaughtered?
Why there's existing of Christians in Iraq? Is that what you mean?
No. You're saying that in your home country they were slaughtering Christians. Am I correct?
Yes.
One of my viewers is asking, why did you not stay there and fight on behalf of Christianity to prevent the slaughtering?
We're less than 1 million people over there, and there are over 40 million people. Who are we gonna fight? Okay. Like, if they pee on us, we're gonna fucking drown. That's how it is.
So you're outnumbered, is what you're saying, basically.
Of course, by a lot.
All right. Do you think Trump will possibly help out the Christians in your country?
Of course.
All right.
I hope so. And he's said it many times, like about Chaldeans. He didn't mention Assyrians, but it's same thing. Chaldeans, Assyrians, and Syria.
How would he help them out, though? What could he do to help them out?
I mean, basically, he's telling Muslims, so he's not talking about other religion from Iraq or from any Arab country. So that means the rest gets the pass to better future.
All right. That's a different aspect. I mean, because he did promise to not get involved in overseas conflicts anymore, but you're saying that he is going to do it. So that would be interesting. I got to move it on, though. This is our first time talking?
Second time, but it's been a very long time.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming back, man. Thank you. Come on back anytime.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, moving on with the program. I don't know what the hell's going on with TikTok, why the numbers are playing games like that. Tap the screen. Maybe that'll help. I've been having this problem with TikTok over the last few days. I mean, it's not the content of the show or even the quality of the show, because YouTube's is fine. So I don't know. TikTok, maybe because of what's going on with their ongoing, forfeiture or whatever the hell the U.S. government wants to call it. I don't know if that's what's affecting me, but I've noticed over the last week or so that TikTok is dropping, whereas YouTube is going up. So I don't know why that's happening. But tap the screen. It may help. My algorithm is set for MAGA. That's my predominant audience. I like to speak to MAGA, but liberals are welcome as well. Looking in the comments, Will G says, all hell the felon in chief, the toddler in chief, the king of petty, Don Poopy Pants, the author of confusion. Trump ain't shit. Wow. That's a mouthful. That is exactly what he typed for. Wow. All hail the felon in chief, the toddler in chief, the king of petty, Don Poopy Pants, the author of confusion. Wow, that's a mouthful. Holy shit. Republicans ain't shit, says Brian. Republicans just denied federal aid for Cali wildfires. Before we continue, we're asking that question tonight is, do you believe Trump will deliver on a host of promises he's made? We limited it to 5 because Trump is always something what he's going to do on day one. And if I wrote down every damn thing he's promised to do on day one, we would have a never-ending show. So we took down 5, and we asked one special item at the end of it. So we kind of covered it. I will go back to the box. When do I get my plaque for being the top channel commenter and receiver of likes from Handsome? Marissa, by the way, thank you for your continued support as well, Marissa, in the comment section. I'll see what we can do about the plaque. Let me go back to the box. Gina, good evening. Welcome to the program, Gina. And thank you folks that are tapping the screen. Wow, who the hell said Dead Cow?
Bye.
Wow. Well, really? Dead Cow, thank you. Gina, good evening.
Good evening. How are you? I haven't seen you in a minute.
I've been here. Good. Thank you. Appreciate you being back. So what do you think? You think Trump, who has promised to do several things we've covered, up to and including even getting rid of the transgender community, at least in the eyes of government, do you think he is going to actually deliver on his promises?
No, and oh no, never.
None of them?
He hasn't delivered on shit. Hell no. You know, the only thing he's going to do is create confusion and dissension between everybody. Just like what he's doing with California and the crap that he's trying to pull there. Be careful what you wish for, man. They're the 5th largest economy in the world. They are a blue state. They give to our budget. What does he think? If the blue states turn around and quit, putting into the budget and helping out the red states, where would these red states be? Be careful what you wish
But
for.
when you say what he is doing in California, I want you to elaborate on that. What is he? I mean, is this where he's talking about not giving them fire assistance?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And trying to blame Gavin Newsom. You know why he's blaming Gavin Newsom? Because he's afraid of Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom is a threat to Donald Trump.
In what
His
way?
period done ended.
In what way? He's not going to run anymore.
Okay, Gavin Newsom. If you didn't forget that he was the first governor to come out and be against the tariff thing. Okay, then he had the other couple governors that came out and they said they will not let him turn around and ruin their economy.
Right.
Okay, that's number one. Gavin Newsom ain't afraid of Donald Trump. Gavin Newsom ain't afraid of saying what he needs to say. Okay, and you can say what you want, but a lot of all this crap that's going on right now is not just the fault of uninformed citizens, but it's also the fault of the media. Our media has done us an injustice, okay? Because from the very beginning in 2021, when Joe Biden took office, instead of them taking their attention and putting it on the president in hand, okay, they turned around and continued to play up Donald Trump.
You think?
Okay?
You think CNN? Wait, hold on. CNN and MSNBC are media outlets. You think they were playing up Donald Trump?
100. Anything he did, it was reported on. Everything that Joe Biden did, nothing was really said about it. Joe Biden was a very consequential president. He has done a lot of things. He took us, it's not his fault that we had inflation. That wasn't because of him. It's COVID. It's not his fault that, he got the gas prices. He got them. Joe Biden had a lot to contend with. Nobody has given that man the credit that he deserves for the presidency that he had. It's been a good presidency.
Well,
go ahead.
Well, I will tell you right off the bat, you are right. I mean, no, because I don't think even a lot of Democrats do not even think it was a good presidency. I think the problem is the lack of communication. You're speaking about Trump. One of the things Trump was known for is communicating to the people. Even if it's not true, he was certainly talking to the people constantly, and Biden was not.
I'll give you that. The one thing that the Democrats lack, and I think it's the biggest thing that the Democrats lack, it's not their policies. It's not what it is their messaging. Their messaging. The Republicans get their message, they stick together, and they put it out there. The Democrats don't message the good, the bad, and the ugly enough.
But let me ask you this. So let me ask you, like in school we get letter grades A, B, C, D, and F on your report card. If you had to give Biden a letter grade, what letter grade would you give President Biden's performance as commander in chief?
I think it was an A. I think it was an A. I think he was a good president.
You gotta be kidding.
I do, yeah.
An A.
Okay, all right, let me be honest. Maybe a B. But that's it. We did not give him the credit that he deserves. Come on, man. Afghanistan, that wasn't Biden's fault. You know whose fault that was? Trump. He negotiated that deal. Biden had to follow that deal. He had to follow out with that deal.
What about the border? What about the border?
Afghanis involved.
What about the border?
The border? I think the border's been broke. It's been broke. It's been broke. And you know what? When you got James Langford bipartisanly creating a border deal, and then Trump saying, "Oh no, drop it because I'm not going to let Biden get a win because it's political." Now, whose fault is that? Whose fault is that?
But if you say the border has always been broke, is it not the job of the current president to fix what is broke? How well?
That's what he tried.
Huh?
As well he has tried. He started trying at 21. He started trying at 22. They didn't want to come together with him. They didn't want to work with him because Trump said not to. Come on, man. Trump has been a dagger in the ass of this country since 2015.
Well, then
he's been a dagger in the ass of this country since when he did the Central Park 5.
Damn.
Okay? This is crap. This is crap.
A dagger to the ass of the country. Wow, that's strong language there, Gina. The dagger to the...
It has been.
Well, but...
Think about it. what he's done with the Muslims. He's made people a target that shouldn't have had a target on their back. Immigrants do cause less crime. Number one, immigrants, we need. Texas is even backpedaling on their agreement with Trump about deportation because you know what? They know that their economy will falter and go in the dumper if they don't have the immigrants that they need in order to do the job that they're doing now. What are you going to do? Go get all these immigrants?
I haven't. Wait. You're saying Texas is backpedaling. You talking about Greg Abbott, Governor Greg? I have not heard that. Texas is on board with Trump.
Greg Abbott per se. I'm not saying Greg Abbott per se. I'm saying the Texas Republicans. They're saying that. I mean, come on. What are you going to do without these people?
Yeah.
What are you going to do without these people? They turn around and they provide your Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. Their taxes put money in that and keep them solvent. Them alone. Were you going to rely on the Republicans to not dip into the accounts of your Social Security, Medicare? You got that screwed up.
But Gina, I think the problem is a lot of folks believe that the immigrants in this country are committing a bunch of felonies and crimes. Trump got folks convinced that they're rapists and murderers and eating pets. So
that's a lie.
Well,
that's a lie. Do you know Timothy McVeigh created unalived more people than any immigrant. Timothy McVeigh.
Well, yeah, the Oklahoma City bomber. I'm sure I don't know any immigrant that killed 160 people at the same time. Yeah, no immigrant has done that.
But no immigrant really commits that kind of a crime. If you're an illegal immigrant, you don't want the eye of the law on you. So you tend not to want to turn around and commit a crime, okay? I mean, I don't know, but that would be my idea of it. I don't want you looking at me if I'm illegal and I'm not supposed to be here to begin with. If I'm driving without insurance, I don't want to go through a red light. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, that actually is fairly logical. But if that's the case, then why do you think Trump is saying it? Trump is suggesting that these folks are very dangerous.
Trump is a liar. He's a liar. He's a liar. He uses scare tactics, and he uses the fear of quote unquote whatever God he believes in, God, in order for us to turn around and in order for Americans to turn around, because I am not one of them, to bow down to him. He opened a pit. Listen what happened. When Trump got elected, a Pandora's box was opened, and Trump plays to all the things that people have always really been about, but never expressed. And when Trump got elected, it was like they felt empowered to be like that. And that's why we have all this crap going on.
But you said when Trump got elected, people felt empowered to be what they wanted to be, but never expressed it. What do you mean by that? They wanted to be patriots? What are you saying they wanted to be, but they hadn't expressed?
A patriot is not storming the Capitol on January 6th. A patriot is not turning around and, people wanted to be evil. They wanted to be racist. They wanted to be like Trump is. They wanted to, get the Muslims out of here. Oh, let's ban the books. Oh, let's do this. Oh, let's do. Trump allows that to happen. Trump gives the nod to that. It's all good with him. It's just gross. Everything that people kept hidden inside of them that they would never do. Like when he turned around and told the cops, well, he said to the police, let the police, bang your head into the door. At his one rally. Yeah, bang him a little bit. Do you see what the police do now? They are empowered, man. They are empowered.
So you believe that you believe that stuff that Trump has said has given the police the empowerment to be corrupt and mistreat people?
100, yes, 100. Look at the things they do. It's given the police the power, that empowerment. It's given people, what he did with DAB for women, okay? Then you get, what's his name? What was his name? The one that got pepper sprayed, or was going to pepper spray the woman. He got in trouble. I can't remember. He was at dinner with him. Anyhow, it's given these right-wingers the idea that we are a man's possession again. Women are a man's possession. I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to overturn the right for women to vote at one point.
Damn.
Okay, with this Project 2025.
But Trump has promised. But wait a minute, Trump has swore up and down, Gina, that he has nothing to do with Project 2025. That is not his goal. You're not going to see that. He said he hasn't even read it.
Okay. All right. Okay. And Trump swears up and down he don't cheat at golf too. Okay, I believe it. Not.
So is it safe to say you don't trust Trump at all?
Samuel L. Jackson. He'll tell you Trump cheated at golf. Okay?
All right.
I mean, come on.
Man, you
The man's mouth's moving. He's lying. It's 35,000 lies that were actually validated. 35,000 in his first term, and you're going to turn around and vote for this man again. I don't understand it.
Well, people did. But Gina, people liked the price of fuel when he was in office. They liked the price of groceries when he was in office.
Okay, wait a minute. The price of fuel when he was in office. Nobody was driving. C-19 was going around. How you gonna? What you gonna do? Charge somebody for something you're not using?
Well,
yeah, that's number one.
Wait a minute. C-19 didn't kick off until like the last year of his term. I mean, people were driving when he was president.
Wait a minute. The first 2 years of his presidency was Obama's economy. What the hell? Obama gave us a good economy, man. Okay, look at the first 2 years of Joe Biden's. That's Trump's economy coming right back to smack you in the ass. So then you're going to turn around and blame Joe Biden, but you don't want to blame Trump.
Right.
That ain't fair.
So let me ask you, but before I'm moving on, let me ask you this question. Give me your opinion, no matter what it may be. Give me give me one thing, just one thing just one thing that Trump did good for America during this 4 years.
Letting us know how terrible he is. That's what he did good. That's the only thing he's done good.
You know my audience is going to say you got Trump derangement syndrome. You really hate this guy.
If I had Trump derangement syndrome, then God bless me. I am so happy I do. If there is a God, then he did give me something. Thank you very much. Yes, I do. Because that is an evil. Listen, he buried his first wife on the behind the golf course. How could you be any more deranged?
I mean, I can't argue with you. Gina, very strong opinion. Yeah. Definitely a pleasure talking to you as always. I got to move it on, but wow. That last one, I can't argue with that at all. He did bury his own wife on the golf course. Wow.
Happy New Year to you, my lady.
Salute.
Happy New Year.
Good talk. Salute. All right, thank you. Wow. Listen, I had a hell of a lot of folks in my comment section that did not agree with her, and was a lot of folks that did agree with her. Passionate opinion. You know, we always say in the program, we don't block, ban, or censor anyone. We get a lot of folks that are just as strong of a supporter of Trump as she is as a critic. So you can feel free to state your case no matter what side of the aisle you're on. You can be critical of anyone in the comment section up to and including the host. We're all about free speech here. We go left to Bernie Sanders, so I'm having dinner with Q. So if you enjoy free speech no matter what side of the damn aisle you're on, you're in the right place. I'd ask you to follow the program on TikTok. A subscription on YouTube, if you will. For my TikTok viewers, just for the night, if you will, share the live. Maybe that'll help the numbers. I don't know what the hell, because YouTube is fine. I don't know why TikTok is doing it. I do want to respond to a couple super chats, though. She should have said no to the second helping of crack. Guess what? Does people even still smoke crack? I thought it was opioids now. Crack is a 90s thing, ain't it? You so 90s. Will G says, Trump and MAGA are already moving the goalposts. I have seen some signs of that myself. He can't solve Ukraine. He won't lower prices. The only thing he will hang on to are those tax cuts and the bullshit payroll tax deferment we might pay back. Now, I think many of us have heard Trump starting to waver on some of his promises, indicating, well, that might be a little hard to do and things like that, where he sounded very confident at the rally. So I don't disagree that some of the goalposts at the very least seem to be shaky. Will says also, I expect a lot of shoulder shrugs and plausible deniability from the Trump admin, especially after they jack everything up. Up is down is up, left. Why the hell does this happen? I don't know why TikTok is acting. Left, up is down is left. You sound like you're playing Contra for Nintendo. He says up is down is up, left is right is left, green is. Yeah, I mean, you folks are old enough to remember the Nintendo game Contra. You get 30 extra men, left, right, AB. That's what he sounds like he's talking about. Let me go back to the box. Trump won't care for anything just so long as he has the power and in his cushy position and vantage point. You don't think, what are you saying, that all Trump wanted was power, and once he got it, he don't give a damn about America at all? A lot of folks disagree with that, though. A lot of folks think Trump is a true patriot and he cares about this country. So before I go to the next caller, I see Mount Loving Mama says, unfortunately, this show is becoming very much a liberal echo chamber. I can't control who calls into the show, Mountain Loving Mama. If you want to come on, and we just had an individual that was a pro-Trump fan, and we just had it followed up with a woman that certainly was not. But we've only had 2 callers so far, and one was on each side of the aisle. So I can't control who comes through. But when you do come through, we don't try to censor your speech at all. So if you favor Trump and you don't like what the liberals have to say, damn it, this is the program to do so. But I can't control that. He would sell America if he could. Damn. What did Trump do for you, says G-Man. Well, I got a lot of viewers that would tell you they financially were much better off under Trump. So you say, what did Trump do for people? That would be probably a lot of folks felt safer in this country under Trump because they didn't feel like anybody could come across the southern border. A lot of folks felt better knowing a hell of a lot of our money wasn't going to the Ukraine. So the tax money wasn't being squandered. They liked the tax cuts. They liked the price at the pump. So a whole lot of things that Trump has done for people, depending on what people you're talking about. Let me go back to the box real quick. Make sure I didn't miss anything there. Continuing on with Dencal. Good evening, Dencal. Republican presidents Reagan, Bush Sr., Bush Jr., Trump, eek. You don't like any of them, huh, Benny? Dencal, good evening.
Good evening.
Hey, thank you, by the way. Appreciate that. Haven't seen that ever. Thank you.
Yeah, might as well go ahead all out. It ain't but a couple more days left.
I hope they don't get rid of TikTok. I really hope they don't. I'm working on Discord so I think Discord might allow me to bring up some of my Trump supporters on YouTube as well. But I hope they come up with some kind of last minute reprieve to save TikTok because there's a lot of people that really like the app. And it allows us to speak on our own, genuine level without interference from, media and things like that. It's authentic because the people are talking among themselves, even if you disagree with it.
And that's the reason why it's got to go away.
Yeah, we talking too much.
The powers that be, I mean, they literally were complaining to the Supreme Court talking about, this app, it just puts people against each other, so we can't have it.
Yeah.
Why all of the politicians and everybody in society is going at each other, they blamed it on the app.
I think the thing is they can make a ton. They want to control the narrative and make money off of it, and they're not doing that from TikTok.
I don't even know if the money aspect is more important than controlling the masses in the minds of people.
Wow.
They don't get that. They don't get that much off of the TikTok shop or whatever. So
no, but what I'm saying is they make a ton of money off of MSNBC or Fox News. The cable news networks are making a bunch of money, and they work right alongside the politicians. Whereas if we have our own place to talk, the viewership of those cable news channels start to drop because a lot of folks say instead of going to Fox or MSNBC, I'd rather come on here and talk to you folks. So they're not getting there's a huge amount of tax revenue and everything coming from, multi-million-dollar networks.
Yeah, I hear you, but I don't know if they believe that the society of this generation or these people are going to go back to watching legacy media anymore. Like, that ship is past.
Yeah, but if they get rid of the apps, where else can they get their news from at all? I mean, they got to get it from somewhere.
Right, but they've got other alternatives. That's the thing that was so funny to me that they were arguing this stuff in front of the Supreme Court. They were making it seem like TikTok was the only one who was using it. No, they might use and abuse our information when we already know that all the other ones, TikTok, Facebook, all Instagram, everybody,
X,
all of them been taking and spreading and using our information for whatever they want, but they was hardcore in front of the Supreme Court saying, yeah, the Chinese might get our information. so we got to stop that.
Yeah.
But anybody can sell the information all across all these other platforms, and they can sell it for money. And when it comes to money, it don't matter who it is. It's always if there's a buyer, there's a seller.
So you agree with me that the whole thing was a plot just to stop us from talking amongst each other?
Wait, say that one more time.
I said, so you can't agree with me that the whole thing was a plot to just simply stop us from talking amongst each other?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah, definitely. Now he got all of the people on board. He got Bezos up there. He got. They even had Trump to come out with a half-ass. Yeah, Supreme Court, could you please just postpone it a little bit? Now he ain't pushing now, because when Trump is pushing something.
Yeah, he would be talking about it every day. If he thought the Supreme Court was making a bad decision, he would be talking about it every time they put a microphone in front of his face.
If he thought they was making a bad decision, they would have changed their mind. That's how much juice he got with them.
Damn.
They would have extended it.
So you really believe that this Supreme Court is totally in a tank for Trump?
Oh man, come on, man. It's not that all of them are, but it's enough of them.
It's enough of them that they can't do nothing about it.
Right, yeah. Yeah, so, the other ones that are on the right, they might as well go along with them. Who wants to be the outcast,
Yeah.
Who wants to be the one that sides with the liberal,
Yeah.
And so they need what? They need 3 of them to side with the liberals to get stuff done. So yeah, nobody wants to be a part of that crowd. Nobody wants to stage National Guard in front of their house and
Yeah. And it's only gonna get stronger once he replaces Alito. I mean, the good thing is you can't really get much further right than Thomas and Alito, and those are the 2 he's likely to replace. So he ain't really gonna get a huge gain other than youth, because they'll be much younger. Other than youth, he's not going to get much gain in favor of the Republicans, because Clarence Thomas is about as far right as you can go already. So, I'm amazed it comes in a well-tanned package like Clarence Thomas. But that guy is so right. Clarence Thomas is so far to the right. I'm like, do you know what you look like in the mirror? I don't understand it, but he is really far to the right.
I seen a special about him. And many people don't know, he started out like far left, like marching in college, like for civil rights left early in his career. And he slowly evolved to the point where he just disavowed anything that had to do with civil rights.
Somebody put some money in his pocket, probably. Keep in mind, now I'm not saying this due to money, but Trump also is far to the left. I don't know I'm not saying anybody bought him off, but Trump also was a Democrat. He's on video talking about the economy's better and you don't need a high capacity, MAGA, a high capacity weapon. He was talking real left about 20, 30 years ago.
Right, but the difference between them two is that one started out as in the legal field, became a judge, and all of a sudden he got a whole bunch of right-wing billionaires paying the mortgage for his mama and stuff like that, and paying for his nephews to go to school and all that kind of stuff. And then Alito, who in the hell has a conversation with the president-elect the day before he about to...
I'll never buy. Yeah, he tries to say that it was about appointing an intern or something. That's the night before all of that shit go on. Y'all didn't talk about any of that, or just some fucking intern. Trump would have been like, "What the fuck you calling? You know what shit I got going on right now? You can call me about your intern later. You know what shit you call me about this today? There's no way in hell they only talked about that. That makes no sense.
Exactly, and nobody is like there's no call for him to be there was a little call for him to recuse himself, but he already made made his decisions known and stuff, and we just acting like that's okay for the president of the United States. Barack Obama just said something in the press about, he thought the Supreme Court would be making a bad decision if they ruled in a certain way, and they called him interfering. Oh, you're interfering in that decision making. Now this guy got carte blanche. He can call them up and be like, yo, hey, that thing tomorrow? Nah, we ain't doing that.
That sounds like some shit you would see on Casino or Goodfellas, the way you talking. That thing tomorrow, it's off. So if the fans are listening, they don't know what thing means.
Look, the other thing, you can let that go. Like you can let that report go. Let the report go. They can't do nothing. But the other thing, the thing about the thing.
Yeah.
You know how they talk.
That's what it sounds like. It sounds like a mob conversation. But I will say this, because a lot of the folks on the right will go, well, you guys just got tedious. And I'm like, if you reverse the situation where you had a liberal president and he had appointed all those Supreme Court justices and he's on the phone talking with them, you would be saying that dude is corrupt as hell. I mean, like, it ain't got nothing to do with left or right. This looks bad no matter what party you from.
Wouldn't be saying it. We would be in a constitutional crisis. They would be saying both of them out of here. Not just having a conversation. They would say this is illegal. This goes against everything that the Supreme Court and the executive branch is supposed to. They're supposed to be co-equal branches of government. They're not supposed to be in coordination with each other. I'm sure there's some rules and laws and all that, but ain't nobody saying shit.
I think a lot of, I don't know if it'll ever happen, but I think some of this stuff, because when you're the president of the United States, you work for the people. Anything you're doing on behalf of the country, as long as it's not confidential, it should be public record. And that's the problem, is we've kind of removed that, where you can do all this stuff behind the scenes. And a lot of it looks shady as hell, but because when he met with Vladimir Putin, for instance, and he tore up the interpreter's notes. Now, I'm not saying that what he talked about with Vladimir Putin should instantly be made public, because it might be classified. But there should be a record of it out there somewhere, because if somebody who does have access to classified material says that he acted out of hand, there's no way they can ever, summon up what was said, even if it's a closed door session in Congress or something. There is no way to know what they ever talked about, because he literally destroyed all the notes from it, which also leads to the question, why would he even do that? Like why would you meet with Putin and take
You're asking the wrong person. You got Johnny 11 on here. You got who's some more?
I got my boy Stevie D, MAGA. And by the way, Stevie in the comments says, bro, there is more we don't know than know about the last 40 years of presidents. Keep it 100. He's right about that. I mean, Trump ain't the only one. That's not an
excuse for us to just ignore all precedent, all standards set. We could say that. You said that many times. We could say that about anything.
Yeah.
That somebody probably...
I would also follow it up with this. When we elected Trump, we elected him because we were sick of typical politicians. And anytime he does something wrong, the common pushback is always, well, they all did it before him. So it's like, well, he sounds like a typical politician. He was supposed to not do the same things. But now if he gets caught lying, well, they all tell lies. Or if he gets caught doing this, they all do it.
And then when we call him a crook, they say he's not a crook. And then when we let them listen to him say, yeah, the reason why I know all of these people are corrupt is because I used to be corrupt with them.
No, he didn't say he was corrupt. He said he used to.
You know what he was saying.
He said he used to donate money to both of their sides and help them out.
He said more than that. And there are plenty of people on the other side that says, even old gangsters have come on record and say, dealing with Donnie was like dealing with the mob, but he wasn't in the mob. Like, he used to strong arm people. We know he used to do these things, but every time we had this conversation about him being a criminal, it's always like, he ain't done nothing wrong. He ain't did nothing wrong.
But how do you respond to people that say we need a leader like that has that type of prowess, that knows how to wheel and deal, knows how to stay on top and shake people down? Some people favor that. I mean, isn't that what he's doing in Greenland and Panama right now?
Well, that's a disagreement that we're gonna continue to have, because I'm never, ever going to say that we need to have a full-blown criminal because.
Well, he's not. Wait, well, no, hang on. Other than the 30,
it'll be better for us if he strong arms other countries and makes them sign deals that he won't honor, and our name around the world in every other deal we get into will always be questioned. No, I would never.
But I gotta tell you, Dinkau, is that not the American way? I mean, even before Trump came along, isn't that what we've been doing? The strong arming people and taking resources and land. I mean, that is kind of the American way. He's just talking about bringing it back in style.
Right, but that's been a part of what we considered part of the American experiment. And what we're supposed to be doing is growing from it. I'm not saying that it didn't happen and it won't happen in the future, but we're not supposed to just accept it as stat quo and just say, look, if that's the case, we might as well just say, well, Jim, we need a dictator, because he would be more effective at doing that stuff if he didn't have to go through Congress, he didn't have to pay attention, and then he could really get some stuff done.
Well, I got Pop Shelley on YouTube saying because the caller is cool with us being weak. He's suggesting that you want America to take a weak standpoint by not doing what Trump is talking about, which I guess is leading from a position of strength, whether it's acquiring Greenland or Panama. I mean, it sounds like he's trying to expand the United States.
That's not a position of weakness. That's being a bully. Every other country understands the power that we have. But the thing about having power is that you don't always need to exert it against everybody just because you can. Like, just because we can, it'll be a whole bunch of things. Yeah, it would be great if we would just go ahead and take over the whole Europe.
Yeah, that's
wouldn't that be more beneficial to us if we would have both sides of the Pacific Ocean? It's a whole bunch of stuff that would be beneficial to us. But that's not what we're supposed to be about as a country. And it doesn't matter what president you have. Those other countries understand, because of our forward pressing and our willingness to put $1 trillion every year into our military. Nobody thinks we are weak. Yeah. There are just certain presidents who don't want to get involved in certain situations, and so they don't act on it. But going around telling everybody, you screwed us over and we're gonna get you back is not. We would have to have many people to come after him over and over and over for that to be an effective strategy. Because if the next person comes in and they have a moral compass and they want to do what's right internationally, they're not going to continue all of this crap.
But if he's already, if you come in 4 years and he's already renamed the Gulf, we've already acquired Greenland, or we've already taken control of the Panama Canal, the next president is not going to come in and give it back.
No, but we also didn't Russia just come out and say, hey, you guys are talking about breaking international norms, that you guys are the ones who established the international norms, trying to get Greenland because it's a strategic position against Russia.
Yeah, but you ever heard you never heard the phrase "do as I say, not as I do"?
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, how can you say that Russia is
do as I say, not as I do? We'll talk about it when you do it, but when we do it, it's okay.
Well, I don't know. I don't believe that that's the right message to be.
I didn't say it was right. I'm just saying that's what we doing. I'm not saying I don't agree with it either, but I'm simply saying that, like, for instance, we're talking about how it would be great to have Greenland because we need it for our national security and things like that. Well, that's the same shit Russia was saying about the Ukraine. And we're not okay with that. But we're okay when we say we need it. I mean, that's literally what they said, is we need this country for our national security. And, it's in the proximity of it. All of the same shit we said about Greenland is what they said about the Ukraine.
Okay, so tell me, what is the proper position or standard for the one sole real superpower in the world? What is the standard we should set?
The standard is we make the rules and they don't apply to us. So we make the rules, but because they don't apply to us, we can break them also. We make the rules and they don't apply to us.
We had one other person who tried to do that on the other side of the ocean.
I know.
Everything should belong to us. We better than everybody. And we see how that ended up. And trust me, if America and all of the people we done shitted on all at once decide they are getting too cocky, it's going to be a problem for us, no matter how big our military is.
We sounded a lot like the Axis powers, huh?
That's what it is. That's what it's going to be if we continue down this road. But, I mean, there might be light at the end of the tunnel, because Steve Bannon said we're going to get rid of Elon Musk, and now they're talking about, getting rid of all of these people that Trump has surrounded himself with. So we might have some internal fighting for the next 2 to 4 years.
Oh, that's gonna be fighting because Trump just likes to fight. I mean, there's no way in hell we're not gonna at least have some internal division and strife in this country because he likes liberal tears and likes to piss people off. So fighting is part of his administration. So we'll see how it goes. But you know what I got to do. But yeah, fighting is not gonna end.
It won't be liberal tear. I'm talking about this is internal. This is who's gonna make it out. It's gonna be like the Squid Games.
Oh, you mean within his own administration?
Exactly. With Bannon talking about getting rid of Elon Musk.
They gonna fuck around and get rid of Bannon because Elon Musk is there to stay. Elon Musk got way too much money. Oh, no. Steve Bannon can't get rid of Elon.
Musk is out there negotiating, telling Europe what trying to get rid of
Steve Bannon is not getting rid of Elon. Bannon will go before they get rid of Elon. Elon got way too much money. You ain't getting rid of a damn trillionaire to be. I mean, it ain't happening. Steve Bannon broke ass, it ain't happening.
The original MAGA maker, Steve Bannon, is not a challenge for the newly crowned.
I mean, Elon Musk got way too much fucking money, dude. It would be different if he's walking around with maybe $1 billion on him. I mean, you talking about somebody who got hundreds of billions of dollars. They like Steve Bannon for sure, but you ain't getting rid of Elon. In fact, I would tell you this also. Elon Musk would be a worthy adversary because he got power globally. He can throw around enough money to be a problem globally. He can just say, fuck it, I'm going to leave and take my ball with me. And his ball is Starlink. I mean, if he starts allowing other people to have access to Starlink, he becomes a threat to national security.
Yeah, I hear you, but he's not more power than our national security apparatus. He could disappear.
Well, yeah, that's a whole different story. But what I'm saying is he is eons above Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon ain't bringing nothing to the party but conversation. Elon got a lot more than that.
Yeah, well, you don't know what Steve Bannon might have on Trump, and they might have.
I don't think nobody cares. I don't think you can't say any damn thing about what Trump has done and get the American people to care. It doesn't matter. He can literally have shot somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue. Doesn't matter what Steve Bannon says. Nobody's going to give a damn. Not going to give him that much credit. All right. Steve Bannon been captured by the deep state. We don't believe him no more. I got to go. All right. Appreciate it, man. Thank you, by the way. Appreciate the support. All right. Moving on with the program. Yeah, I don't think Steve Bannon has much power as Elon. I really don't. All those low prices during Trump's first go-round was not because of him. Everyone seems to skip the melanated man, that is Barack Obama, skip the melanated man before him that had actually put in the work to get the economy straight. But that's typical. Now, I had Gina, the female that was on here, passionate. She was really an anti-Trumper, passionate about her opinion. She said the same thing. I got a lot of folks who do believe that Trump should get no credit for the first 2 years of his economy because they believe that was Barack Obama's economy. I've made it clear many times on the program, I'm not a fan of that. I do believe when you're president, what happens under your watch, you get credit for. So if the economy was going strong under the first 2 years of Trump, he had the ability to fuck it up. So if he didn't, he should get credit, because if he did, we would be blaming him. If he got in there during the first 2 years and ruined the economy, we would be blaming him. But because the economy was good, we blame the other guy, which means he cannot get any credit at all unless it's bad. That's not fair to Trump, in my opinion. Some of you folks have a different opinion, but I'm going to give Trump credit for the economy during his term. And I do believe it was moving more favorable while he was president. I don't believe he came in there and it was a good economy and it did not continue to improve while he was there up to the beginning of the pandemic. Now, once the pandemic hit, I think Trump handled that miserably. That's a different topic. It will be at least 2 or 3 months of Trump taking credit for Biden's before shit hits the fan. and Trump takes full control because of the government resolution and ends March and April. Well, Trump's going to be blaming Biden for stuff his whole term, period. No matter anything let's just be clear. It doesn't matter what goes wrong under Trump's term. It's never going to be his fault. If there is one phrase you'll never hear Trump say, it's the buck stops with me. Trump will only take credit for things that are favorable. I don't think, even when he says even when he clearly gets something wrong, he doesn't apologize, he doesn't clear it up. So who knows what'll go on during his term, but I can tell you with a fair bit of confidence that anything that goes on wrong, he's not going to take credit for it. You'll never hear that man say the buck stops with me. The politician, despite how dumb he is, the rich fool funding both sides that makes countries fight wars against each other or sends the military to occupy things just for the fun of it. Now, Trump did, you're right, and did Cal mention this, my last caller said this, Trump did come on the scene down the golden escalator back in 2015, and he stated that, he would be the perfect guy for the job because he knows how both sides work. And it's because he's been playing ball with both sides. And I do believe that's accurate. Donate money and, maintaining a close association with both sides of the fence. He was at the Clintons' wedding, of course, hanging around the Clintons. And here he is now a Republican president. So he does have a lot of affiliation. He was even hanging around Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton types. So anytime you got one dude that can say I've hung around Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson and Steve Bannon and Flynn, this guy got his connections are widespread. So yeah, he has played both sides of the fence. He was doing obviously what was advantageous for him. Like right now, he's all over, you can find him all over social media admitting he's not a Christian, but yet he's hanging around evangelicals and all of that. So he's a smart man. Say what you want about Trump. He's a smart man in terms of he knows how to play certain groups for his own advantage. The fact is, like I said, he's on TV saying he's never asked God for forgiveness. He's not a Christian. I easily can bring the clips up and show you, yet he's able to sell Bibles. You got the evangelicals applauding this guy when he walks in the room, saying that he was sent directly by the God he does not believe in. Tell me how that makes sense. That folks believe that Trump was sent here to defend this great nation by God himself, when the man is all over the place saying, I don't even believe in that dude. So give him credit. He's able to literally sell ice to Eskimos, in my opinion. He's a really good salesman. I don't know anybody else that can pull that shit off. Don't tell me all politicians do it. We know Trump is totally different. Well, I don't know. I'm simply saying that when things don't go right for Trump, and I'm speaking to Trump supporters, that's generally the pushback is that, well, he ain't the only one that did it. Obama was doing it, or, whether it's putting kids in cages, for instance. How often do they bring up Obama with that? January 6th, Black Lives Matter comes up. So it seems like the guy who was supposed to be completely different from everybody, the minute he does something wrong, they're constantly bringing up what somebody before him did. He was not supposed to be like any of those people. So maybe he's changed the stripes on that at least. I'm going to continue with the show and tap the screen, folks. Certainly get the likes up if we can with the way TikTok has been doing things. I appreciate you. Tap the screen, get the likes up to about 20,000. We'll see if we can make it happen. We don't block, ban, or censor as usual. You know how the program works. When did he say he wasn't a Christian? He goes to church. Oh, wow. Let me see if I can bring that up while I take on my next call. I'm pretty sure I can find it. Not only did he say he was not a Christian, but he also has said that he's never asked God for forgiveness, which I have never heard a Christian say. Isn't that like literally part of it? Is you admit you're a sinner, and Jesus was sent here to die for our sins. So to have somebody say, I've never asked for forgiveness, I've never heard of that either. But I'll see if I can briefly find it before taking on the next caller. But I'm 100% certain I've seen him say it. Let's see what comes up here. Tells Christians you don't have to vote me. He was at this turning point. I think this is the one here. Hang on a second. Let me see if I can. Okay, there we go. Make sure I get my audio right. And I'll let you hear this. This should be.
And again, Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christian. I'm not Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote.
There he goes. He said, I love you, Christians. I'm not Christian. I mean, just said it right there. I'm not Christian. So, do you need to hear more? I mean, he clearly said, I'm not Christian. Get out and vote. But he's making it clear he's not one. I don't know why I can't. Oh, there we go. I can bring it back a little bit to that part where he said, I'm not Christian.
You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm not Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to vote.
And of course, everybody wondered what the hell he meant by if you vote, you don't have to vote again. That's obviously that's going to definitely drive some liberals crazy to this day. Nobody knows what he means even to this day about that. But yeah, he clearly said, I'm not Christian. Now, in the comments, Fancy Prezi says that was faked. He would never say that. Why do you think listen, if I say that he said something and I put him on screen saying it and you don't believe, then there's nothing I can tell you. I mean, if you believe what's on screen is a deep fake or something like that, then there's nothing else I can tell you. Here's the bigger picture of it, though. But I can't fix that because I'm not here creating, fake videos or whatever. This is what he said.
We have to win this election, most important election ever. We want a landslide that's too big to rig. If you want to save America, get your friends, get your family, get everyone you know, and vote. Vote early, vote absentee, vote on election day. I don't care how, but you have to get out and vote. And again, Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm not Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote.
I mean, if you think that's fake, there's nothing else I can tell you. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, he's right there at turning point. The odd thing is, if this is fake, if let's say you're correct that this is fake, notice how you haven't heard anybody saying that on the right. I mean, this video was a few months old. MAGA reacts. Good evening. What do you think? You think this is fake?
I don't know. I don't know all the context, so I'm not going to comment on it.
Well, he's clearly saying. Wait.
Trying to say,
he's clearly saying I'm not one of them. What more context do you need?
I don't know what he means by that. Some people think being Catholic is not being Christian, or the other way around.
If I tell you, hold on, if I tell you I'm not Muslim, you don't know what I mean by that?
Well, Muslim is more specific. There isn't 20 different kinds of Muslims. There's
more than one type. Wait, no, that's not true. That's not true. I mean, there's Sunni, there's Shiite, there's Croat. There's a ton of different types of Muslims.
Those are ethnicities. It's like I'm an Orthodox church. There's Coptic, Orthodox, Greek Orthodox, different kinds of Orthodox.
You don't think there's one? You think there's only one type of Muslim?
One religion, like one Muslim religion. They're very strict about that. They wouldn't let you pray in any other language than Arabic.
Okay. What if I say I'm not? What if I say I'm not Jehovah's Witness? Do you not understand what that means?
Yeah, that's more specific. That's Jehovah's Witness, but
so
isn't that also Christianity? Or I'm not even that familiar with them.
It's I guess it's some form of it, but okay. So if he says I'm not Christian, give me 2 different ways that could be taken.
You mean that he's Catholic, or I don't even know his religion, to be honest with you. So you might be right, or maybe he just meant he's not that religious. And that's what he's trying to, the point. Like, I'm not religious, but, I support you.
You really tried, man. You are really trying. I give you credit. You tried. You tried your ass off.
And with Christianity, there's so many different kinds of Christianity. It's, like, very hard to pin down. It's like, there's only one Judaism. Like, there's only one, there's only... you're either Jewish, you're Muslim, but you could be like 1,000 different kinds of Christianity. I'm Orthodox. Other people are Catholic. Other people are Protestant. You mentioned Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah.
You know, the list goes on. So I think what you meant to say most likely is that he's not religious. I've never seen anything else.
How about this though, man? The comments, Fancy is a Trump supporter. She's saying it's unlikely that he said this. She said, I can tell you 100% he never said he wasn't Christian. He would lose the evangelical vote. Do you agree with her that if he actually did say this, he would lose the evangelical vote?
No, I mean, you guys like think these people are like super racist and they only accept you if you're Christian. They're not like that.
You never heard the woman. Wait. You never heard the woman say she would not vote for Obama because he's a Muslim. She was literally saying his religion is the only reason she wasn't gonna vote for him. Yeah, there's people who won't vote for you if you're not Christian. Yes, that is true.
Yet the majority of the country voted for Obama. So doesn't represent everybody.
Yeah, majority of the country voted for Obama because they knew that he was a Christian. That they knew that the whole Muslim thing was a lie. Remember, they're going in his church, Reverend Wright, the guy who said the chickens are coming home to roost. That dude is a Baptist preacher. I mean, he's on the south side of Chicago. I know the church. So you can't sit in this guy's church and accuse his pastor of saying all kinds of unpatriotic things, knowing the church is Baptist while you're trying to also say he's Muslim. Somewhere along the line, they had to get their lies straight. I mean, everybody knew Obama was a Christian.
I agree with you.
Okay.
He's Christian. I'm not saying he's Muslim. I don't agree with, like, you're having me debate for people that I don't agree with. Like, what do you want me to say?
But you think that Trump, do you think that Trump is a Christian?
I think he is, but I don't think he's religious. I think that's what he meant to say. Like, I'm not that religious, but you know what? The fact that we don't know is the point. Like, it shouldn't matter. Like, you shouldn't really know.
It normally does, though.
Politicians.
But MAGA reacts, it normally does. I mean, you said the fact that we don't know, it shouldn't matter. I think most people in this country.
The fact that we don't know is a good thing. It's a good thing that we don't know because it hasn't really come up in a way that would bother you, which was really what matters.
I think a large portion of the voting constituency in this country wants a God-fearing man in the White House. They want that. They don't want a guy where they don't know. Because a lot of folks believe that if you have that in you, it's going to make you a morally good person. That's what we're talking about all the time about the 10 Commandments in schools. People think that if you believe in God, you're going to be a morally better person.
See, I hate to say it because I know you're not going to like it, but yeah, but with him, you don't know that he's not a God-fearing man.
I don't think
like, as long as you're not the opposite of what they're looking for, you'll do okay. You don't have to agree with everybody, but opposing them is the issue. So he's not using his religion he's not saying I can't do this because I'm Christian, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
he's not opposing these people.
I think like I said, I think most of the people in this country would prefer a God-fearing man in the White House. That's what I'm saying. I want you to hear this clip.
And I agree with you.
Okay, and with him saying that he's not a Christian, he doesn't come across as God-fearing. But I want you to hear this clip, and I'll have you speak on it.
He's not a God-hating man.
I didn't say God-hating. I said God-fearing.
I know, but okay. What we usually look for is someone that's not opposed to God. He's not saying I'm an atheist and I don't believe in God and being anti-God. I
think we look for a little bit more than just that. I think we look for somebody who actually believes in God and lives their life according to it. I don't think we just, he's not opposed to it. I think we kind of want a little bit more than that. Maybe I'm wrong. Listen to this and you give me your opinion on it.
Christian, have you ever asked God for forgiveness?
You're not going to be. It's so echoey, but this is Frank Luntz asking him. Yeah, he's asking him, have you ever asked God for forgiveness? Now, there is a closed caption, but there's no way you're going to see that.
How did he answer? I'll just go for your word. How did he answer that question? Tell me how he answered it.
Let me see. Okay, let me play. Because I haven't seen it in a while. Let me see.
Christian, have you ever asked God for forgiveness? That's a tough question.
So that's a tough question. I don't think in terms of... Let me actually, hold on. I'm going to turn the volume down and read the closed caption as it's coming in because the volume is doing us no good. All right, so he starts out by asking, have you ever asked God for forgiveness? And he says, Trump says, that's a tough question. I don't think in terms of I'm a religious person, shockingly, because people are so shocked when they find this out. I'm Protestant. There you go. I'm Presbyterian. And I go to church and I love God and I love my church. And Norman Vincent Field, the great Norman Vincent Field, was my pastor. The power of positive thinking. Everybody's heard of Grand Vincent, but he was so great. He would give a sermon. You never wanted to leave. Sometimes we have everyone at wow. Now hold up. He's not answering the question though. He asked him, "Have you ever asked God for forgiveness?"
But again, like he's not answering the question. Hey, I don't believe. Like what pissed people off is he was like, "I don't believe in God, so I don't need to ask him for forgiveness." That's the stuff that pisses people off.
I don't know if he's asked God. I'm deep into reading this. I don't read at least almost 40 seconds of it. So far, he's not even. He asked him a simple question: have you ever asked God for forgiveness? And he's talking about his church and the pastor. He hasn't said yes or no yet. So I don't. He sounds like he's bloviating. I just want to see if he ever answers it. Dr. Norman Vincent would give a sermon telling you, I still remember his sermons. It was unbelievable. And what he would do is he'd be real life situations, modern day situations into the sermon. And you could listen to him all day. When you left the church, you were disappointed that it was over and he was the greatest guy. He still ain't answering. He is not answering the question.
It's one of those things where like he acts like a fool, but he doesn't. He skipped the question like any other politician.
If you truly, I don't think I could ask any person that is truly religious, have you ever asked God for forgiveness and get all that out of them? I mean, yeah, I know I'm not perfect. I'm a sinner. That's why Jesus died. I mean, I'm over a minute into it. And he has not answered the question.
Would you prefer the Kamala Harris one where like, I don't believe in any, I'm going to change anything. I'm not going to do anything different than Biden. That's the kind of answer you're.
To me, if Kamala Harris had did what he did, if Kamala Harris was asked, you're talking about on The View, if she was asked, what would you do differently from President Biden, and she spent 2 minutes saying nothing in relation to the question, that's just as bad as what she actually said.
She actually did that, but it was never highlighted like that answer was highlighted. So she would have been better off. It wouldn't have been good, but it wouldn't have been as bad as the answer on The View. But,
to me, if you don't answer the question, to me that's just as bad. I mean, especially something simple. What would you do differently from President Biden? You spend 2 minutes talking and you don't give us a single thing at all. To me, that's just as bad as saying I wouldn't do nothing. And that's what Trump is doing here. He's just talking in circles. Nobody wants to know what the sermon was like, or you left there feeling like. I mean, do you believe in? Do you ask God for forgiveness? Why are you telling us about sermons you attended?
Well, look at how we got to this video. We were wondering if he's religious, and he kind of answered the question that he's religious without answering the question about forgiveness.
Well, the question of him saying
is, "Are you religious?" and he answered it.
Well,
do you believe in God? He sort of answered it.
But keep in mind, this video here I'm playing is from 9 years ago. The video I played where he said I'm not a Christian, that was a few months ago. So it's possible he could have, like myself. I used to be far more religious than I am now. I mean, there's a 9-year span from that first video to this one. So maybe he has gotten away from religion over the years, like myself. So
no. I think my
what church does he go to?
He meant to say that he's not religious.
What church is he known to go to?
I don't know. And personally, I don't care. I'm coming on here to talk. I have a whole list of things to talk about. And
all right. Well, before we get to
religion is not one of them.
All right. Before we get to what you're about to talk about.
Trump's religion is not one of them.
Okay. He says now he did finally say forgiveness. I'm not sure I have. He said, I'm not sure I have. I just go on and try to do a better job from there. So he's saying he's not sure he's ever asked God for forgiveness in his life. I don't think so. I think if I do something wrong, I think I just try and make it right. I don't bring God into that picture. I don't know when I take you. He hasn't. So he's basically said, no, he has never asked God for forgiveness. This was 9 years ago. Maybe he's changed his mind. What are your notes? What did you come here for?
Oh, I got a whole list. First of all, that lady that you had before Denkel,
yeah,
that's the other side's Kool-Aid. Like, she's drank all the Kool-Aid. She couldn't say a thing bad about Newsom, about any of these people. And she has... that's definitely a Kool-Aid drinker right there. Like, I get called a Kool-Aid drinker, but I could talk shit about Trump and all of them all day. She has not one bad thing to say about the other side. That's beyond Trump drain syndrome. But,
okay.
What else?
Keep going.
Also, you keep bringing up the Muslim ban. Like I keep telling you, the Muslim ban had to do with ISIS. The second ISIS lost, I know they're not gone, because that's what I always tell them when I say they're gone. The second they lost all their territory and they became nobodies, like the rest of the terrorists, he stopped talking about the Muslim ban.
But here's the problem. Here's
ISIS. Yeah, ISIS gone, Muslim gone, never talked about again.
But here's the problem with it. You don't get to, they always say you never get a second chance to make a first impression. That would be like when Kamala Harris said she wouldn't change anything from Biden. Well, later on down the line, she started coming up with all kinds of things. So we're going to hold her to her first impression. And what you're talking about with Trump and the Muslim ban, that's all second impression stuff. When I played the clip, you clearly realize it had nothing to do with ISIS. It wasn't specific countries. He was talking about a total and complete ban on all Muslims. Later on, he started limiting, we're only talking about ISIS or we're only talking about Syria. But that ain't what he said in the beginning.
But it had to do with terror. It had to do with terrorist events that happened at the time. Some terrorist event happened, and he came on the next day, and we're like, well, look at all this crazy stuff that's happening overseas. And
we ain't had enough terrorist events in this country to ban all Muslims from coming here. I mean, you're going to take one event, one or two events.
Stuff on the news.
Yeah, but you're talking about all Muslims. You're talking most Muslim countries have never perpetrated an act of terror on the United States. Why would you ban them all?
I understand. Well, look at when COVID happened. He banned all Chinese travel. You don't bring up that anymore
because China is but Chinese travel is one country. Muslims is a whole continent and beyond. By the way,
he wanted to ban. He pretty much banned travel to all Asian countries. Chinese is just the way he said it.
Well, and I think that's where some of the problem is. MAGA reacts is that. When Trump speaks, it's like you got to have this magical interpreter going on. When Kamala Harris said it is. Yeah, it is. You're always talking about things are being taken out of context, or he didn't mean that, or nobody says that about Biden or Kamala Harris. If you get me on the point,
I'm just telling you how I understood it when I heard it. Because I heard it like I tell it to you, and then a week later I hear the news version of it, and I'm like, that's not the message I got. I got the message I'm telling you.
But that's the point. That's the point I'm trying to make is that you notice when it comes to Kamala Harris and Biden, you don't get this. Well, it meant that, even though he said that, or it was taken out of context. When you hear them say something, it's taken at face value. For some reason, when Trump says things, it's always it didn't really mean that, or he was just joking, or you don't hear nobody say that about nobody else.
Well, nobody has, I'm sure people have Harris range syndrome, but their words are not as twisted as much as Trump's words are twisted. Come on, he said under his breath, not Christian by mistake, and look how, he
by mistake?
He probably meant not religious.
By mistake?
It was like a millisecond that he said it. If I blinked, if my ears could blink, I would have missed it.
You guys could catch any.
And in fact, I probably missed it when I actually watched that. I probably did not hear that. I don't know how you caught it.
You could catch you could catch any gaffe or stumble that comes out of Biden's mouth. But when Trump says something, well, he actually didn't mean it. What?
No, that's not what I said. I said it's twisted. Oh. It means one thing, and you guys make it sound. You play with it to mean other things.
What did it mean when he said I'm not a Christian? What do you think it meant?
I already told you. I think he meant him not that religious. You could be Christian and not be. You just said it. You're a Christian, but you're not that religious right now.
You'll never hear me. You'll never know. I know. If you're not that religious, you say I'm not that religious. You don't say I'm not a Christian. That means you ain't religious at all in terms of Christianity.
That's not prepared speech. That's off the top of his head. So he made a mistake off the top of his head. You see how fast he was talking?
But that's what I'm saying is I don't get when Trump says something, he can make a mistake. When Kamala Harris or Biden says something, you hold him accountable to it. If Obama, Barack Hussein, if Barack Hussein, Obama make that same mistake, You telling me the right wouldn't have held him accountable for that? If he had got up there and said, I'm not a Christian, and said, well, I made a mistake, you think they would have allowed him to get out of that?
Again, Obama and Harris, they all sell themselves as perfectionists. We're perfect. We do everything perfect. We ran a perfect campaign. Everything we say is perfect. Trump doesn't sell himself like that.
He
Trump
sells
says,
himself as
I'm going to fuck up like you. And he does fuck up like us, and we forgive him.
He's the guy who always says, I know more about this or that than anybody. He does sell himself as perfect. I know more about COVID than the doctors. I know more about the war than the generals. He does sell himself as perfect. What are you talking about?
Himself as experience, not perfect. He's not saying I do everything perfect. He's like, I'm 82. I live a life where I do a bunch of shit, and I have experience in these fields because I dealt with these people, or and he does have experience. He's 82 and has been a billionaire all his life. He's not like at home watching TV day and night like me.
I'd swear we almost hearing a different person talk. This guy's always talking about.
That's what I'm saying. We understand things. We understand things differently, and you're not wrong. You just think differently than I do, and that's like one of the main differences when I talk to someone on the right. It's like we literally could see the same problem and come up with completely different answers, and So all right, I expose myself to it, so it's kind of funny when I catch it.
All right, so before I move it on, and I see somebody in the comments says Trump. Corn Julio says you're a Trump whisperer. I've never heard that before.
Well, I'm not the only one.
No, you sure are not the only one. There's millions of you. You're not the only one. I agree with that.
Exactly. I'm not a whisperer. I guess the right half and the left half thinks differently, and some people are visual thinkers. Some people have to write things down. People think differently.
I just have never heard the right say that Obama, Clinton, Kamala Harris, Biden were taken out of context. I've never heard that before. I only hear that with Trump.
No, but the left says it all the time, especially in today's media.
Give me something that Obama said or Biden said that people say was taken out of context. I can't think of one thing. You said they say it all the time. Give me some examples.
I don't have a list, but if you give me if you give me 20 minutes, I'll find you something.
Okay, type it in the comments, because I ain't never heard that.
Any other gaffes, they come up with excuses for their gaffes too. Like we come up with excuses for Trump or explain Trump. People on the left explain what happened with Biden or what happened with her.
I have never, I get your point about people make excuses. I agree with that. But I have never once heard anybody say that Biden was taken out of context. Kamala Harris was taken out of context, or Obama.
I'm sure that.
I hear that on Trump all the time. I hear that Trump talked about giving the police immunity from prosecution, and that was taken out of context. Like he's talking about, I'm not a Christian, and you said it's taken out. He sounds as clear as day.
That was such a quick thing that he probably said. You saw it wasn't like he was reading a speech. It wasn't that he had 20 people do a speech for him, and he said it off a speech. He just said it off the top of his head while he's what's it called? Free lifting.
He freestyling?
He was talking.
What is he?
Not freestyling.
What is he, Lil Wayne now? He Lil Wayne?
Like freestyling.
He been hanging around Lil Wayne after that party too much. He freestyling up.
Okay. He ain't no Lil Wayne. Let's go like that.
All right.
Damn, man, I haven't covered anything on my list. Oh, as far as the TikTok ban, most people don't know that TikTok has this feature. Like, most people don't know you could actually have conversations like this on TikTok. Most people think TikTok is just dancing videos. And
oh, really? Well,
yeah, because you and Denka all talking. They're trying to stop us from talking. I did not even know about this. I was watching you on YouTube. I thought you had like a phone system where people call in. I kept asking on YouTube, "What's the number to call? What's the number to call?" It took me like watching you like 4 times to figure out you're on TikTok and it's the feature of TikTok.
Really?
And even then, it took me like 2 more times to figure out how to use it.
Well,
I'm
actually trying to find another social media platform where I can do this, because I do want to continue being able to take calls instead of just reading text. So
I think your best think your best bet is Twitter. They have a similar thing where you could all log in to listen to someone, and you could request to be the speaker. So Twitter Spaces, I think is what it's called, is your best bet. Discord is for video and talking and chat, but that's for everyone to talk together. Twitter has a similar thing where, it's a bunch of people listening, and then you request up 1 to 8 people to actually be the speakers.
You're talking about X. You're talking about X, right? You're talking about X.
Yes, X. Okay. Sorry. The only difference is with X, there's no video. It's only audio. So you'd have to stay to YouTube and all the other channels for actual video. I mean, Discord has video, but it's really... I think Twitter is your best bet. You have a bunch of people join, and then the speakers could request up like here. It just says no video, but you could do the video part on YouTube and what's it called? And then you also got to tell people, like, hey, if you want to talk, this is something you need to do from now on. Like, tell people, if you want to talk to me, jump on jump on TikTok. And
I have told them that, but a lot of them don't have TikTok, and I think you got to have a certain amount of followers. I don't know how TikTok works, but I've told folks, come on.
You need to have 1,000 followers to go live with video. But
it's something you can get 1,000 followers damn near overnight if you know how to do it. But I got to move it on. But I'm gonna check Twitter out. That's a good tip. I'm gonna definitely check that out on X.
Yeah, I think it's called X Spaces or something like that. It's what he was using to talk to Trump with like all those people. Okay. It's getting popular, and you can broadcast it out. People could join. Anyone who's got a X account. What else do I have on this list? I could
real quick. I gotta move it on. Go ahead. I'll give you the last minute.
Yeah, all politicians are criminals. He's already rich. I don't think he's trying to rob us. I think he's trying to. He's 82. He's rich.
I don't think that. I'm not gonna accept that MAGA reacts. I'm telling you, these folks are greedy. I mean, you look at what is his name, Elon Musk. You know, that guy's got all the money in the world, and he is still making a ton of more money. You don't hear all of this.
I don't think he cares about money.
You don't. Well, he sure. If he don't care about money, why the hell is he continuing to take it? You don't hear all of these charitable events. He ain't giving it away. He's made over $20 billion. He's made over $20 billion. Hold on. He's made over $20 billion since the election. You don't hear about him giving it away. So if he don't care about it, he sure as hell is keeping it.
Because he thinks it's better in his hand. He wants to do more projects like Starlink and rockets. And look at all the stuff that we wouldn't have EV cars. Like, we wouldn't have electric cars right now as popular as they are.
I'm not disagreeing with any of that. I disagree with the part that he don't care about money, though. I do disagree with that. I don't disagree that the guy is a genius in terms of inventions, but he clearly cares about money.
But you don't see him like on a yacht with his friends partying. Like, he's using that money to make the world better. Like, he thinks it's better in his hand than the government, and he's proven it right. Like, his Tesla infrastructures, basically,
he's going to die. So wait, hold on. You do realize it's better in his hand than in the government. He's going to die one day. I mean, the government will live on. If he dies, it doesn't matter how great he is with money. When he perishes, that money's going anywhere. So no, he ain't better than the government. I mean, he's going to die one day.
Look at, when it comes to EV cars, right now, all the other companies have literally gave up and are starting to use his infrastructure. They said, fuck the government infrastructure that they spend a ton of money on and only did 9 chargers. Everyone is switching to his infrastructure. Everyone's giving adapters. Everybody's,
and you don't see
EV cars right now without him.
You don't see the possibility of anything ever going wrong with this, huh? I mean, even if, let's just say he ends up having mental illness or something like that, you're putting all of this power in one dude. If something go wrong, we fucked. I mean, we don't pretty much outsource NASA to this dude. He got control of GPS systems and everything. If he goes wrong, it goes really wrong.
Look, his business has checks and balances too, but it's more, more his board has stock. It's more stockholders and people who. I don't know. I don't
feel confident with that. That don't come from.
I think, like, you know me, as being on the right, I always believe money is better in private hands, because in the end, if he does go crazy, like you said, then guess what? He's going to stop making money and he'll eventually go bankrupt. I mean, it's going to be harder for him than most. But, if he does go crazy, then his company will stop making money and someone else will take over. But if the government goes crazy because someone becomes president that sucks at managing their budget and wastes up $1.5 billion and doesn't win, guess what? They don't go bankrupt. They're going to keep collecting taxes. You can choose not to buy a Tesla. You can't choose not to pay your taxes.
I understand your point to some degree, but I think that Elon Musk is now in with the government. So I don't think your argument of separating him from the government anymore is valid, because now he is part of the government. I mean, and not only is he part of the government, but he's not an elected official, so he could do a lot more damage because he's not subject to the rules that somebody that elected is.
How did he get there? He was kind of forced into it because he's doing a better job in the government.
He wasn't forced into shit. He bought his way in. He's there because he gave Trump. He gave Trump millions of dollars, and Trump rewarded him by giving him a position of power. That's why he's there.
He was forced into that because he was very hesitant to do that until Trump's unaliving. You know that all started when Trump got shot.
Okay, I gotta go, but I gotta move it on. But the idea that a guy that's
started as a Democrat,
a guy that's worth
Andrew Yang Democrat.
Yeah, I gotta go. But the idea that a guy that's worth hundreds of billions of dollars was forced into something is insane. I gotta go.
Because the alternative, the other side is trying to go after him, trying to go after his business. You know, how many lawsuits did they're trying to go after him as a monopoly. They're trying to go after him in so many ways, and they're making it harder for him to do. Sends rockets into Mars and all that shit he wants to do. The other side attacked him. Trust me, and
he got attacked. I don't disagree with that. I gotta go. I don't disagree that he got attacked, but he wasn't. I don't believe he was forced to be a member of the Department of Global Efficiency. I don't. You don't force a guy that's worth hundreds of millions of dollars to do shit. But thank you, MAGA Reacts. I appreciate it because he's corrupts his facts only. Let me see before I go back to the next caller. Biden says he is Catholic, but he fights for abortion. Make sense of that. That's a great point, Fancy. You're saying that Biden claims to be Catholic, but he's fighting for a woman's right to choose, and that goes against the religion. I can't deny that, but I'm gonna use the same argument you often hear from the right. They all do that. I mean, you look at how this country was founded. We were allegedly founded on religion, but yet we're oppressing people, raping people, enslaving people. I don't think any of our founding fathers, any of our presidents have ever actually lived a life that the book says. I don't think any of them have. None of them. I mean, so I don't disagree with your point, but it didn't start with Biden. It didn't start with Trump, and it ain't going to end with them. All of them are living a life of greed, excess, gluttony. Obviously, Trump has had like 4 baby mamas or whatever the hell it is. I mean, none of these people are living a life according to the good book. None of them are. But you're right about Biden in regards to that aspect. Looking in the comments, there is none of the righteous, not one, but our Father in heaven, says Paul Smith. Well, I get your point about the Father in heaven. What I'm saying is they're not even trying, though. They're not even trying. I mean, you're starting wars that are unnecessary. I mean, they're not even trying to do it. So, it's one thing to know we all, because you say that, nobody is righteous, not no one but our Father in heaven. True, we're all going to sin, but you want to repent. You want to, you do want to morally attempt to do what's right. The point I'm making is they're not even trying to do that. If we acquire Greenland, do you think that that's going to go good for the people in Greenland? We already talking about the resources and metals they got in that country. That's a land grab. That's a resource grab. Yeah, we need it for national security. That's part of it. But the minute we get that land, we're going to start mining on it. We don't need to mine for our national security. We need to do that for our pocketbooks. We're going to do a little bit more than just putting a few military bases on there to protect our national security. It's greed. It's greed. The wealthiest country on earth is looking to make more money. Does that go against the 10 Commandments? Ain't that greed? So I don't think any of them do it. Newsom wants a land grab in California. What do you mean, Fancy? Gavin Newsom is the governor of all of California. What do you mean by a land grab in California? You'd have to explain that. Looking in the comments, MAGA will say it's artificial intelligence or it was a slow slip. And that's exactly what he said. Will, you said it before he actually said it. That's exactly what he said. Like he said it not, but he paused and meant to say so. I mean, like you literally described exactly what he said. Wow, that is a home run if I ever seen one. Trump ain't shit either way. Oh my God. But you really described it perfect before you even said it. It sounded like Christian, and played it off like he was saying he's a Christian and he doesn't lose the evangelicals. Like I said, he clearly said he's not a Christian. My last caller was saying he slipped and said, who slips and says something like that? Trump says the judge was conflicted. Trump is conflicted and convicted. He absolutely is convicted. First president in U.S. history to be convicted of all of those felonies. Maybe he'll get the Supreme Court to overturn it. But right now, yeah, I am the only one that can fix it. Personifies perfect. Now, that's in regards to my last caller that says Trump never portrayed himself as a man of perfection. And my viewer is pointing out that if you're saying that you're the only one that can fix all kinds of shit, that's like the personification of being perfect. And I see validity in that. And he is the one that's saying that. I don't know why my monitor's all fucked up here, but we'll fix it one way or another. I sound like Trump. I'll fix it. What does I say there? Elon has his hands in every government agency, and he racks up all the government subsidies every time the agency does something. He will curtail the government in a way so he gets more subsidies. Yeah, the idea that Elon Musk, yeah, he's rich. Nobody's denying that, but I don't buy into the notion that he doesn't care about money or anything. I mean, like I said, if you don't care about money, why is he taking it all? He's clearly making a fortune. He's making a lot of money right now. What's going on? So I do believe, a lot of these folks. And Jeff Bezos. I mean, Jeff Bezos is the second wealthiest man in this country, and you got Amazon workers going on strike claiming they ain't even getting paid enough. Clearly, he cares about money. The idea that these folks are, double-digit, triple-digit billionaires, they still care about money. Their actions show that. Their actions show that they still are trying to make more and more money. In fact, Bezos or Elon, neither one of them are known for all of the charitable shit they do. There's a whole lot of people that are far less fortunate than them that are known for being charitable. Elon is not known for that. What has he done with his money? Bezos has a yacht. Elon just has rockets. You telling me? I don't know. You're telling me Elon doesn't have any luxury items? I'd be curious to look into that. I don't. My guess is he probably does have some stuff. My guess is that's probably not. He may not be as flashy as Bezos and that you're talking about, but my guess is Elon Musk has some toys. We saw Mark Zuckerberg on TV the other day when he was talking about he's going to stop censorship on his app. And he's on TV wearing a $900,000 watch. That was Mark Zuckerberg. My guess is Elon Musk does some splurging, and he just may not be as flashy with it, but I'm pretty sure he does. He used to live in an office at Tesla. But how far back are you going? The people in California lost their insurance a month before, and Newsom will grab the land. So you're telling me that the folks that got burned out of their homes and they have no insurance, you're telling me Gavin Newsom is going to buy their land up? That would be super unpopular for the governor of the state to start purchasing land formerly owned by people that got burned out. I haven't heard that. That almost sounds conspiratorial. I'd have to see some. I mean, that would be super unpopular. You'd have me on board with you, Fancy, criticizing the hell out of him if he's talking about doing that. Continuing on with the program, DeAndre Griffin, good evening, welcome to the program. I'm pretty sure is how you defend half of your worldview. Well, give me some examples there. What is this? I can't even pronounce the name there because I can barely read it. SND Rook. Give me some examples of what I'm using. I'm pretty sure to describe my worldview. Let me know if you're right. I'll point it out, but I don't understand. I don't understand where you're going with that. DeAndre, good evening. DeAndre, are you there? Okay, apparently he's there, but he's not there. Thanks for coming on. We're moving on. Real quick in the comment. By the way, folks, tap the screen. Get your boy likes on up to about 25,000. I think we can make that work. Yes, this happened in Maui. Gavin Newsom is not a governor in Maui. So you're saying he's doing this in Hawaii. You said the fires were intentional. You're telling me the California fires were intentional so that Gavin Newsom would profit? You got to show some proof of that. I know they've caught an arsonist or two, but you're telling me that it was being done on behalf of Gavin Newsom. You'd have to show some evidence of that. I have not seen any proof of that. I'm not saying it ain't happening, but I haven't heard. I mean, and I think everybody would run with that if that was happening. I mean, Trump is already criticizing the hell out of the left-wing politicians in California. And we know Trump doesn't need any evidence. If he hears something like what you're saying, he'll go on TV and say it, aka the Haitian migrants, for instance. He just heard it and he said it. So he must not even be hearing what you're talking about. Yeah, the fires being intentional. I have not heard anybody say that those fires were intentional so that politicians could make money from a land grab. No handsome yes. Many think it was intentional. Read the news. Well, what many think and what is true is a different story. If many people think that the fires set in California were intentional, my response is going to be what it always is. What evidence do you have? I mean, there are people who do believe the government is out to get them. There are people who do not trust anything that comes from the government. Nothing you can do about that. No matter what the government says, they're lying about it, you know? So there are people like that. My response is always evident. What evidence do you have? If you don't, I mean, COVID, you know how folks believe that. I mean, the vaccine, you know what people think? That it was designed to take a bunch of people's lives. They don't trust the government. I get it. But if I don't see any evidence, I'm not on board with it. I wonder how much money the rich really need. I don't ever see them helping the little man. Well, Paul, I hate to say it, but Trump has a lot of very wealthy people on his administration. Very wealthy people from the private sector. So if you don't think the rich ever helps the little man, you're now going to be governed by them. So we'll see what happens. I don't see a lot of evidence of the very wealthy helping the little man either. They generally want to do things to expand their own wealth. So we'll see, though. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we're both wrong. I'm hoping we are. But I don't think so. They have no space to build new housing now. They can put apartments instead of mansions. Now, that's a good point, MAGA reacts. That's one of the problems that LA has always had, which is why the cost of living, the cost of renting, the cost of owning is so expensive in California. Zoning laws, their zoning laws are awful, where they are really against building elevated structures. Most of the stuff in California is 1 or 2 stories tall at best. Whereas if you look at another heavily populated city like Chicago or like New York, they got a lot of tall buildings, a lot of tall apartment buildings. When you got a heavy population, you got a finite area, everybody can't have a house. Some people got to live in apartments. You got to stack some of these people on top of each other. And California is not a big fan of doing that. So if everything in town is mostly homes and 1 or 2 story structures, that's all people can get, they're going to cost a fortune. The apartments, they need to have more of those. So what you're saying is, that maybe because the town got burned down, they'll build more apartment buildings. I don't know, but they need to. They do need to build more elevated structures. It would probably bring down the price of housing in that area if they could have a lot more. Like you go to Chicago, you go to New York, and it's just rows of high rises all over the place. LA is not really like that. They don't have a lot of that, other than maybe on the beach. But other than that, they don't have a lot of that, and they do need it because they have the population. Poison in our food should be enough evidence, Tim. Johnny 11, poison in our food. I don't buy that the government is doing that. The free market is doing that. Remember, you want Kennedy as what is he running over? Housing and Human HHS Housing and Human whatever he's doing, not housing, health and something. I forgot the name of the department that Kennedy is going to be over. But it's not the government that's putting poison in our food. It's the free market that's trying to make you addicted to shit. The government is not making Coca-Cola put all that sugar in your soft drink. They're not making Frosted Flakes put all that sugar on your children's cereal. It's the free market that's doing it. They want your kids addicted to this shit so that they keep asking for it. The government doesn't control what McDonald's put in their burgers and shit like that. McDonald's wants you to keep coming back. So I disagree with you in saying that poison in our food should be evidence enough that the government. No, it's not the government. In fact, for Kennedy to do what he's promising, you need government oversight. The reason we are where we are now is lack of government oversight. We've let the companies do whatever the hell they want, and they have not done right by us. You need government oversight to correct it, which is why other like countries in Europe and things like that, they use government oversight to ban a lot of the ingredients that's in our food. But I think it's backwards in the way you're saying it. Health and Human Services, Tim. Yeah, that's what it's called, Draco. Yes, HHS, Health and Human Services. Thank you. Tim no cut Biden's. Yeah, having a Biden moment. Look, we go through. The government has so many acronyms, and occasionally I might screw one of them. I was on the right path, though. Yes, I was having a Biden moment, but I was on the right path. The government has laws in place what the companies can put in their food, but they're always finding ways to go around that. Fancy. There's always finding ways to go around. I mean, they got laws in place governing drugs where doctors can give you. And look what happened with the opioid epidemic. They found a way around it. If you let the free market have its way, the free market is focused on money. They don't give a damn about your health at all. I mean, you got doctors prescribing 80, 90 Vicodin to one person when the person only needs maybe 2 or 3 of them, and they'll be feeling fine after that. They give them enough to literally turn them into an addict. They knew they were doing that. They knew they were doing that shit. So yeah, I'm not a fan of the free market because I think I'm not a fan of just letting the free market run free, so to speak, because it's all about money. They don't care about anything else. But a lot of you folks like them. I do want to respond to. I have to let you know that for some reason, Bluetooth headphones don't work on TikTok. So if they're on Bluetooth, sound will not go through. Well, yeah, that's true, Will. We always catch that though, because it also creates an echo. Thank you for that. But we've been having that issue probably over a year. Because if somebody comes on TikTok and they're on a Bluetooth device, oftentimes I can hear myself talking back, and we'll tell them to get off Bluetooth because it just sounds like we are basically talking to ourselves. So, yeah, but thank you for that tip. We need to vote Republican like crazy in 2026. Repair and support, give us a reason. If Trump gets in there, like I said, I'm willing to criticize Trump. I do it all the time where I think he's failing. But if he gets in there and does a great job, I'm going to show him some love, too. Like, I'll give you an example. Because a lot of folks tell me now, and I'll go to the box after this, but a lot of folks tell me, you come across like you get TDS or you just bashing Trump. Now my liberal viewers think that I'm favoring Trump, but I'm just telling you what the MAGA folks think. They think I'm always bashing Trump. When I started this program about 3.5, 4 years ago, when Biden was president and the economy really sucked. I'm not talking about the way it is now. I'm talking about when it really was bad. When you really were paying money at the pump and groceries are even higher. I had a lot more MAGA viewers because I was bashing Biden constantly. Well, as the economy got better, I'm just not going to keep bashing the dude when things are clearly getting better. I'm going to start pointing out where it's getting better. That's how free speech works. I started losing MAGA viewers because they wanted me to continue speaking as if it was still trash. Don't discuss any improvement at all. I don't do that. And if Trump gets in there and things start getting better, I'm going to start probably losing liberals because they don't want to hear me speak favorably of Trump. People just want to hear what favors their side. We don't do that here. If I think a commander-in-chief is doing a good job, it doesn't matter what side of the aisle he's on. I'm going to point it out. And my audience goes and comes depending on what I'm saying about the because I had more MAGA by far when I first started the program because I was always speaking critical of Biden because things sucked at the time. Things really sucked. And as things started getting better, I started speaking better of him. And of course, Trump is always trolling and chiming in. So he leaves a lot of room to criticize him because he says a lot of awful shit. And MAGA doesn't like Trump to be criticized. So I started losing MAGA It is what it is. I can't control it. I'm like I said, I'm about free speech. I'm not going to say something just to favor one side or the other if I don't feel it. Going to the box. I don't know what I just did there, but we'll keep it going. Juice 19794. Good evening, Juice. Shout out to Tupac. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Loud and clear.
Okay, I'm just gonna keep this real short and sweet. I've been following you for about 2.5 years. I've learned so much from you.
Wow.
This is so I obviously this app might end, so I was like, well, let me just come in one time in the box and just let you know my appreciation to you, man. I've learned so much from you for 2.5 years. I've learned so much as far as on the left, so much as far as on the right. As a young black man who wasn't into politics, I mean, you taught me so much.
Wow.
And so I just want you to know my appreciation. That's all I got to say. I am following you on YouTube, and that's all I got.
Man, I'm humbled, dude. That's made my day. Say no more, man. I appreciate that. Anytime, come on back through, and we're gonna continue. I don't know what'll happen if TikTok goes, but we'll certainly find out. We'll certainly continue on other platforms. But thank you, absolutely, for that. I appreciate the support of you tuning in and watching the program over the years. Thank you very much. Wow, that was a good call. See that in the comments. Demos says it was a good call. Yeah, wow, thank you. I've learned how irrational Democrats are, says Fancy Prancy. Well, I can push back on it. I'm going to revel in what my last caller said. I really, man, that really made me feel good. Thank you. And I'm not here as a know-it-all. Listen, at the end of the day, I don't know all the damn answers. I learn a lot from my guests equally. In fact, if I am able to educate folks in any way at all, it's often through other guests talking to me. And while they're educating me, they're educating a lot of you as well. I'm not a know-it-all, and I make that clear in the program. That's why I am for free speech. We all learn communicating with each other. In fact, my next guest is probably going to educate me on some shit now. But before I go to Mr. Mike, I want to look at the comments. It says, just a matter of time before MAGA gets the golden shower. Damn, Trump ain't shit. What do you say, Trump is going to piss on the country? He says, just a matter of time before MAGA. Oh, he's going to piss on MAGA. Just a matter of time before MAGA gets the golden shower. You indicating that Trump is going to piss on MAGA? I don't know. Wow. I mean, that's all he got, CMB. We all we got, man. Am I my brother's keeper? I don't think Trump is going to piss on MAGA. Hang on a second, Michael. Happy New Year. Wish you the best, says repair and support. Thank you. I know you don't agree with shit I had to say, but appreciate that. Thank you for the support. Mike, good evening.
Man, you be giving all these classic movie shout outs. Half your MAGA don't know what you're talking about half the time. You know that, right?
Maybe not.
I do.
Yeah, I know you do. I know you do.
That's one of them.
Okay, fair enough. They may have seen the rip scene before G Money got blown away. They might have seen that.
Maybe
Maybe not.
Have you seen that movie before?
Huh?
I was asking Fancy in the comments. I was asking if Fancy had ever heard that before.
Yeah, Fancy don't know nothing about Nino.
So now we're at 100 days on the Ukraine conflict, huh?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, Trump has said it's going to take more than 24 hours.
Oh, everybody knew that, though. And he probably ain't going to do it in 100 days either.
No. You're saying everybody knew that, but everybody didn't know that because everybody's been saying that, Tim.
Yeah, that's to me, Trump promising to end that war in 24 hours even before going in the White House sounds like Biden saying he ain't going to pardon his son. I think everybody knew that was a lie.
Oh, okay. That's what they read out. MAGA reacts. Stop saying Republicans would have handled the California fires differently. Stop saying
that's
that.
Bullshit.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's some insensitive bullshit. And you want to stand on. See, this is why I have a problem with these arguments, because that's a nonsensical take, for the fire.
Well, and I'll say this right off the bat. There's a big difference between J.D. Vance as a Republican and Arnold Schwarzenegger as a Republican, who used to be the governor of California. You can't just say a Republican. California. You don't know how that Republican. Some Republicans lean a little bit left. Some, or some are more independent. Perfect example. What is the senator from Pennsylvania, the guy who dresses like a bum all the time? Fetterman.
Fetterman, yeah.
Fetterman, when you look at somebody like Fetterman and you compare him to Nancy Pelosi or something, he's a totally different liberal. So you can't just say a Republican would fix the fires in California. There's different types of Republicans.
But and here's why I don't have respect for those takes. Because so Republicans would have prevented the fires, but Democrats somehow were responsible for the hurricanes. Let's stop being so divisive when you say something like that. MAGA reacts. Now I said it 3 times for you there, MAGA. That's up to 10 ways we bring you up. We just have to find a way to call a spade a spade. It is what it is. And when we talk about the fires, when these people losing their lives, that's like any Democrat that was just rooting for people in North Carolina to be unalived or not make it out of this, fuck them too.
Yeah.
Because again, we can't be humans and treat each other like human
But
beings.
I will say this is my pushback. And you're right, the Democrats often wish for the worst on people too. But here's my pushback. Trump himself is making it sound like he may not help them out with the fires. I mean, he's made statements himself like, I'm not going to give him water to fight his fires. That's a lot different than Maxine Waters or somebody said. It's coming from the president.
100%. And he said it the first time when we had the fires during early in Biden's term. We had the fires out here. Again, when I say out here, it means I'm out here. So it doesn't have anything to do with Newsom leaving them without water. You guys don't have a fucking clue what you're talking about. You just don't have a clue what you're talking about. And when you say those things, it further makes people like me react, and it gives you no credibility, even when I try to give you credit for having a valid point.
Yeah. I mean, in my opinion, it really don't matter who says what. There is no reason ever that a president should tell a governor that I will not give you water to fight a fire. I mean, your citizens are dealing with deadly fires, and you're flirting with the idea, well, I'm not even going to give you water to fight. Now, for folks who are just dealing with the whole discussion on whether Trump is a Christian or not, tell me what's Christian about that. That he's talking about, I'm not going to give this man, I don't like him. Part of that. That sounds horrible that he would even say that.
As if there's not Republicans in California, as if there aren't other people that may support him that aren't there. But here's the thing, you all know I love to say this. If one life is too many, like they like to say, if one life is too many,
right, yeah.
if one person that voted for him lost their lives in that fire, isn't that enough to send federal assistance down there?
Yeah, I don't like I said, I don't, and I
Fancy.
see
Hold on for a second.
I see what Fancy. I'm about to address Fancy too.
Fancy. Trump cannot offer us water. He can't offer us water. He doesn't control water, Fancy. What are you talking? This is what I'm talking about. He has nothing to do with water regulations in the state of California. What Trump couldn't do anything. He couldn't offer us water. It comes from Northern California. This is what I'm talking about.
I'm just saying, and I hear your point, but I'm just saying that no president should ever be talking about holding up anything to stop fires that are ravishing other Americans. I mean, if you truly care about the country and care about Americans, it shouldn't matter who they're being governed by. You fight fires. I mean, there's no way to defend that.
Well, let me ask you this. In your lifetime following politics, have you ever heard any other president say something that divisive?
No, none. Not that bad.
Not horrific things that he says about people that don't like him or don't follow him. I want you guys to understand this. If he does anything that you agree with and you were public about it, he wouldn't like you anymore either.
Like I said, to me, that's just disturbing.
I don't agree with it, Tim. And it's not a game. When we talk about lives, it's not a game. When we talk about, it's not a game. And then for people just to continue to play partisan politics with things so significant, and you wonder why you get the reaction you get, because you're only saying it to follow him. And so when I say cult of personality, all you do is continue to show that it's a cult of personality. You're not serious about changing anything. You guys aren't serious about what's really going on, and to levy that publicly like he did, it's despicable, because it shouldn't ever come from that place. It should never come from leadership at the highest level. Period.
Yeah.
And there's no way around it, Tim.
Well, now MAGA reaction in the comments though is saying that Trump cares, otherwise he would stay silent and let Californians reap what they sow. I don't know about him being vocal. I don't see he's not helping that. I mean, if the difference between Trump staying silent or being vocal the way he is, he's not helping the Republican people. I mean, he's not helping the people of California at all by the stuff he's saying. He's just blaming the politicians for the problem. Blaming people for something that is actually happening at this point. You're not helping them out. So you're making it sound like by him yelling out that it's Gavin Newsom's fault or the mayor, that he is somehow helping people out. They done already lost their home. He ain't helping nobody out.
Already lost them. It's always, think about this, Tim. It's always the others. It's never him. It's never them. It's always the others. He doesn't believe the mayor in Springfield, who's a Republican. He doesn't believe anybody. People that was on his former administration, when they spoke out, oh, they were flakes. They weren't. It's always somebody else. It's never ever.
Well, Trump loves, like I said, Trump loves to play the blame game, but
it's just sad, man. It's just it's sad. It's sad, and when I look in the comments and when I hear people come up, and I even seen Gen X too. We went back and forth in your comments a little while ago, and I'm still, he and I still need to have that discussion on your live or off your live. But we're never going. If people think that something good is going to come out of this administration this way, they're fooling themselves. Nothing ever comes when you continue to divide people.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. In fact, I've said this before, that if you are a blue state and you go through a natural disaster, Trump may not treat you the same if you're a red state. He's not viewing us as Americans. He's viewing us as allies and enemies. I mean, and he views the state of California for the most part as adversaries. So yeah,
that's a fact.
Yeah,
that's a fact. That's indisputable what you just said. I don't care what side of the aisle you come from. You have to come to that conclusion at some point in time, or you're going to miss out. And I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to land my plane here. Then I'm going to Project 2025 and those executive orders and how they're lining up these executive orders and trying to move these jobs into Schedule F so they can get rid of those jobs, so they can put in place his loyalists. And we've been talking about this, and a lot of your followers were even denying that Project 2025 ever existed. I don't see that much anymore.
Yeah, you can't deny. Yeah, you can't deny it doesn't exist. You can say that Trump is not going to do it, but yeah, you can't deny this late in the game that it doesn't exist. It clearly exists. Even Trump has admitted it exists.
Well, first it didn't exist. Then it existed, but he didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
And then he didn't know anything about it, and then he knew, but he's not going to do anything. Right?
That kind of sounds like Stormy Daniels. That sounds like Stormy Daniels. First, she didn't exist.
Exactly. There you go, Tim.
Yeah.
He didn't know Stormy. He didn't really know Michael Cohen. I didn't really know. He kind of worked for me, but he kind of didn't. And Rudy doesn't really. Everybody that has been in his immediate orbit, for the most part, has ultimately ended up in a very shitty situation. Every attorney that supported him with J6 and John Eastman and all of them, none of them can practice law anymore. Everybody that touches him, for the most part.
Well, what if he gives them a blanket pardon? I mean, he could pardon all of them and put them right back into the game.
Those were state charges, Tim. He can't pardon those state charges.
All of them?
They were John Eastman,
Giuliani estate, Giuliani estate.
Giuliani, Eastman,
Sidney Powell,
all those were state.
Yeah.
They're done. And for what? But the funny thing is, he can stand up right now and call them shit, and his supporters will call him shit too, with no supporting evidence. They lost their license to practice supporting his lie, and it is fact. And if you don't believe me, try to hire one of them to represent you in court right now. See how that goes.
Yeah, they can't. They can't, right?
They cannot.
Even the young girl that took the really pretty smiling mugshot that was crying, she was like, I didn't know. I mean, she was young. I mean, Sidney Powell and Juliana, they old people anyway. They got their money, but that girl was barely 35 years old, and she'd have lost her whole law license.
Yeah, and she testified too.
Yeah,
she gave a deposition too. But see, and again, if you want to read it, you can read it. You just go find it. It's out there. I've read it. I've read it all.
So what about Jack Smith? Is his information supposed to come out tonight? Or
12:01 a.m. is supposed to be released. The first, not all of it, just the first part. Because see, and I'm gonna tell you this. Write this down. Eileen Cannon, before it's all said and done, Judge Cannon is gonna have herself in a fucked up situation with her ability to practice.
Which one is Cannon? Is she the one down in Florida?
Yes.
The one that Trump appointed and she's been ruling in his favor. Yeah. She's the one that was trying to get in Jack Smith's way, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and she essentially did. But again, they're gonna go back and review her. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
But so that's supposed to be released tonight. They're not gonna believe anything that's written in it. That's the funny part. But
we know that.
If there were things in there that were going to favor him, they wouldn't be trying to block it.
Yeah, that's like Matt Gaetz type situation where you don't want to prove your innocence. You want to prevent it from even being discussed.
Even being pretty poor time across the country. And it doesn't matter red or blue, because if you're not, what Trump and them are doing, none of us have the financial stability to not get caught up in the wake of this bullshit. Very few, Tim. Well, very few people will escape the wake of this shit because you don't have the finances that will protect you. We're seeing it here in California. Damn the fires. And I told you, because I've talked to some farmers down there in Central California. They got employees not showing up. I told you.
Yeah.
By the time
I think, in regards to the employees and in regards to the whole deportation thing, I said this on yesterday's live, with so many people needing, so many people have been burned out of their homes in California. Look at the aerial shots. It's just like, it looks like Tokyo 1945 during the fire bombings of Japan. And you're going to have all sorts of people flocking to Southern Cal, whether it's lawyers for all the lawsuits, builders to build. I mean, there's no way you can do a largest deportation right now when one of the largest cities in America needs to be rebuilt. A large portion of it does. You can't get rid of all them Hispanics that are going to build those houses for cheap. So if there is some kind of large deportation, it's going to have to make some provisions for the fact that we need this area to receive a whole lot of home builders. And even though the area leans left, it's going to be contractors from all over the country going there to build people's houses. And they're going to be telling Trump, don't send my workers back. I got 50 homes that need to be built. You know how much money you would cost me by doing that? So I think that's going to be put on hold.
It's funny. It's funny. So Newt Gingrich, and I know he doesn't matter because he's a rhino, basically. Well, they'll call him.
Really? Newt Gingrich is a rhino?
Well, I'm saying they will call Newt Gingrich
a
rhino because Newt Gingrich had an article. Did you read his article this morning?
No.
Or Newt Gingrich comments this morning where he was talking about how this mass deportation is a terrible idea.
Oh yeah, you sound real rhino. That sounds like some rhino shit for real there.
That's what I'm saying. People call him that because what he's saying is he's saying that we got to do something about DACA. We can't just deport. We can't just deport people. This is coming from Newt Gingrich.
Newt Gingrich is probably making some money off of some undocumented labor somewhere out there. That's probably why he's saying that shit.
Like most of them are. That's the funny part about this shit. That the irony is the ones talking the most are making money off of the very thing they're talking about. It just makes no sense. Yeah, Fancy, that's exactly what I said. Just Google it. Shit, I know you guys got internet. You're not that rural. Just go look it up. And listen, Johnny, just real quick, then I'm gonna drop. You can't be prepared for every natural disaster. That's why they call them natural disasters. You can't be prepared for any. This fire was so massive and it was so intense. You can only have so much water coming through these pipes at one time. It's not an endless supply. Yeah. You're not thinking. And if you haven't been to California, you may not understand how big of an area that is.
Yeah.
Those fires aren't close. Think about it this
Yeah,
way.
I appreciate it. See,
Those
I don't.
fires aren't
I mean,
close
the thing about it,
to SoFi Stadium.
you're talking like 8 months without rain, and you're talking about winds that are the speed of tornadoes. You put them two things together. Being a Republican ain't gonna make you. You're not gonna be able to stop that. I mean, they could have put.
Right.
Even if the fire hydrants. They're talking about some of them ran dry. You still that still would have happened. I mean, the conditions, the conditions that led to that, the conditions would have still been there. You would have had maybe a little bit more water here and there. Maybe you would have saved a few houses, but they were still gonna have a huge national disaster. I mean, the Republican Party wasn't gonna stop that.
Oh, but here's the thing. For you Trump supporters, you see a GoFundMe? Did he set up a GoFundMe for the people of California?
Yeah.
Did he set up a GoFundMe? Did he set up a GoFundMe for the people of California? Has he mentioned anything about FEMA not doing? This is the bullshit that I'm talking about, Tim.
Yeah.
I
mean, it's a blue state. Like when North Carolina got hit, he was all over it. But yeah, he's not going to treat the Californian citizens the same way because they didn't vote for him.
Exactly. So that's what I'm talking about. So don't try to compare the two. But this is the hard part, and I know they can't. That's why I keep saying it. You just be comfortable with the devil that you're dancing with.
Jesus.
But don't try to convince me that it's a princess. Because if he was true, he would have started a GoFundMe, which he never would have started to begin with. He would have said donate to FEMA. But did we ever find out where that money went in North Carolina, or are we past it now?
I'm gonna take passive for 200. I gotta move it on though, Mike. You know they ain't gonna question that. You know that already.
I know they not.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
Okay, brother.
Anytime. And I will say, ACAC in the comments says that orange motherfucker has done nothing for no one. Well, I don't totally agree with that. There's a lot of folks who believe that Trump has looked out for them. Mike Tyson, the championship boxer from the 90s, he always says that Trump looked out for him. I mean, there's people who think that Trump did something for them. The mall safe in the middle of a fire zone. I don't understand what you're referring to, Ron, there. North Carolina got one hurricane. California gets fires every year. Well, Florida gets a bunch of hurricanes. I mean, that Hurricane Alley, they just happen to hit in a different spot. I mean, North Carolina gets hurricanes. They climb up the coast. This would happen to just circle inland. So you get Asheville and Appalachians. They don't normally get hurricanes in that area. So I don't know what point you're trying to make off of that, though. Before we continue on, he also made Trump a lot of money. Yeah, true. 350 million people, Tim says Mike Tyson. Well, I'm sure that I can come up with more people. You're telling me out of all the people, somebody said that Trump has never done anything. And I brought up Mike Tyson. You said, well, out of 350 million people, all you can bring up is Mike Tyson. Well, there's a lot of regular, everyday, average people that I'm bringing up Mike Tyson because it's a name you'd recognize. There was an African-American woman at his rally one time that he called her up on stage and I started asking her what she was, what she did for a living because she was out of work. And he gave her a job. I mean, but if I don't know what her name is, but if I said it, she wouldn't have known it. So I'm saying Mike Tyson, but there are people that Trump has done things for. I mean, even if it's just to get points at a rally, but he is doing something. I mean, so he's done some things for people. I'm not going to say he hasn't done anything for anyone. Maybe not enough for enough people. We could argue that, but he's done things for people. She was on Trump's payroll already. That would be awful. Like the people in the Chick-fil-A that he stopped, and it turns out it was kind of staged. Like many of his failed businesses, Trump is going to walk away clean and leave the people holding trash. That's kind of what's been happening. I mean, people who have supported Trump and had their law licenses revoked, as my last caller was pointing out, people who went to jail. Yeah, he has kind of walked away. I don't think Mike Lindell, the My Pillow guy, is going to get a lot of reimbursement from. I mean, he spent a ton of money. Mike Lindell trying to defend Trump, trying to prove the 2020 election. That guy lost millions of dollars backing that stuff up because he even had what you call the cyber symposium where he was going to spend 3 days proving how the election was stolen. And he even made the slip up of saying that if my evidence is if you can show where my evidence is not accurate, I'll give you $5 million. He was going to show that the election was stolen, and he was so sure of his evidence that he offered anybody who could show me that this is wrong, I'll give you $5 million. One of his own engineers sued him and won the $5 million. One of the people he brought with him sued him and won the five. He was ordered to pay his own engineer $5 million, and that's in addition to all the law, all of the legal fees he had to pay for Dominion and all that. I mean, he lost a lot of money. My pillow still gets sold, but he's worth a lot less money than he used to be. But then, of course, Rudolph Giuliani and many of the other ones. But yeah, and Trump is not going to be able to reimburse all of them back. He might throw Rudolph Giuliani a little bit. He certainly is not going to reimburse Fox News $750 million that they lost. They ain't getting that back for just following behind him and saying the election was stolen without doing any fact checking themselves. They just repeated him. He's not going to give them their money back. They just lost that shit. And I'm assuming Tucker Carlson and some of the rest of them, OAN and Newsmax, they all lost a little bit of money. Smartmatic Machines also sued them. They're not getting that money back. They just followed them down the rabbit hole. And as Will says, he does walk away clean. He ain't paid nothing for he ain't paid nothing for any of that stuff. He walked away clean. So they did pay the price. Hurricane Andrew's hitting the 90s like this fire. Since then, Florida gets more hurricane proof every year. I think another thing I will say also, if there's one thing that these national tragedies are showing us, is that we were wrong when we laughed at Al Gore for his special inconvenient truth. He was yelling this shit out about 25 years ago, and people were laughing at him, talking about climate. Now, overwhelmingly, scientists believe that climate change is real. It's to different degrees. Some people believe, we're on a crash course like we're in Armageddon. Some people believe it's that bad. Other people believe, it's slight changes. It's not real bad, but just about all across the scientific community, every one of them believes that there is at least some man-made climate change issues going on. So this is what Al Gore was screaming about with inconvenient truth back in the very early 2000s. And the right was laughing at him. It's turning out that he was closer to being accurate than not. He's definitely turned out to be closer to being accurate than not. People were laughing at him saying because he made a ton of money off of that. The liberals were buying into it. The right was not. And that's the way it's been since. The liberals have always bought into, whether it's global warming, global cooling, or climate change, whatever name. The right has been against any belief that climate change or global warming exists. But like I said, it's definitely looking like there is some validity to it. I wanted to play another clip. Speaking of that, I'll have to find it. But I'll go back to my next caller. Sure, I can believe that over time it's been many decades since the 19th century, says Chris. I'm just telling you, we keep record of, you ever watch the weather in the morning, they tell you it's going to be 90 degrees in July. This is the hottest it's been on this day since 1976. They keep record. They've been keeping record of temperatures and how much it rains on this given day. They've been keeping records for about 100 years now. So when they're telling you that consistently things that are happening are off the charts, why would we not listen to that? Now you're saying it's been many decades since the 19th century. I'm just telling you, the people who are responsible for telling us the weather and telling us about this stuff are screaming. The people who are telling us that climate change is not real and that this stuff are people who do not have meteorology degrees. They're not scientists. They're regular folks. But the people who have put their entire educational lives in this shit are screaming that there is a problem we need to address. Lewis, good evening. Welcome to the program. I think, to me, climate change is undeniable, in my opinion. Lewis, good evening. Welcome to the program.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. Now, do you agree that climate change is likely real, or do you also see it as being, listen, this just happens. Its own cycles. It ain't nothing big. Earth will take care of it.
Definitely, Tim. Being someone who's been stationed in areas where it's really evident to see that, when I was stationed in Alaska, and I still have a lot of friends that live there, they send me pictures all the time of a lot of the glaciers that are gone now.
Yep.
That used to be there. And we can definitely see the difference. It's definitely something going on. I won't say it's for the same reasons that a lot of people say it is, because of fossil fuels and all that. That part, I'll leave that for the big brain people.
So you don't really know the cause of it, but you do know something is happening.
Something is definitely happening.
Yeah.
And it could be just a natural rotation in the earth. It could be just a time that we're going through, but it's definitely warmer now than it's ever been. Even here in Pennsylvania, and trust me, it's cold here, but it ain't as cold as it used to be.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Winters are, I'm in the Midwest as well. Winters are not as harsh as they used to be. I do agree with that. I mean,
Tim, I went out about 3 years ago and bought a $1,200 snowblower. I've used it 4 times.
Damn. Yep.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because the snow, but as much trouble as it is to pull that big beast out, I could be did the snow, shoveled it myself, and got back in the house.
And I was watching a YouTube special earlier today, and they were saying that was one of the things about Greenland. When we talk about that they have precious metals and things that can be mined, and one of the reasons why they haven't been mining them is because it's a land that is all ice. And there's plenty of glaciers and all of that stuff out in the ocean or the body of water that surrounds it. And they were saying that stuff made it hard to dig and to get your hands on the resources. And they were saying that since climate change has kicked in, a lot of stuff is melted, and it's easier to do that now. So that could be also a reason why Trump seems like he's so interested in it, because if you go over there now, you can get access to this stuff. The ground ain't as frozen as it used to be.
Hey, Tim, most of the places now where we have all the precious metals and the minerals and different stuff is, the reason why more smart people are getting away from even trying to get to it is because of the hard access to it. Why do you think 2 of the richest men in the world are trying to go out of space?
Is there more resources out there they're trying to get their hands on?
Absolutely. The moon is older than the moon is older than the Earth.
So you want to go mining on the moon?
Absolutely. They're going up there to set up a colony so they can start claiming territory, bro. That's what they're doing.
He's like, Trump will be dead in the next 10 years.
I think for some reason I'm wasting a lot of knowledge on you, because you keep giving me that look like I'm puzzling you when I say stuff to you.
I hear what you're saying, but Trump will be dead in the next 10 years or so. He ain't got time to be going to the moon.
It nothing to do with Trump. I don't think it definitely has nothing to do with Trump. Trump doesn't foresee things that far out. I think this is more Elon and Bezos who I'm talking about.
All right, that makes sense.
And a lot of the other younger guys, even going down to what's the one mutt name that owns Google?
Zuckerberg, or you talking about
Zuckerberg?
Google?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree with that, but I'll tell you this though: you don't even really need to mine any of the materials on the moon or on Mars. And I don't know how you could go to Mars because that shit's hot as hell. But on the moon, for instance, even if you're talking about mining, I don't think just the fact that if you could set up and make it so that man can live there, that alone is worth a fortune.
Man has no intentions of living up there. They're not even talking about sending men back up there. They're talking robotics, man. They're talking about sending robotics up there to do those works and live up there. That way they don't have to create no environments. Robots can work in any environment, and they work 24/7.
So you believe there's some precious metals or some kind of or something to get off the moon that they're trying to get their hands on?
Absolutely, no question about it, hands down. Because there's no other reason for us to go there.
Could be something there that they're not telling us about because they don't want to yell it out because then Russia and China will be trying to go there.
Absolutely, but China's already going there. So is what's the other country? India is already going there. India is already.
Now I'm wondering what the hell is on the moon.
I'm telling you something. It's got to be the precious metals. It's got to be all.
Can you imagine they find a bunch of gold or some shit that's up there, or lithium or something?
See, that's what I don't think they'll find, is because gold is done with minerals that require stuff like water. Yeah. And
well, I've heard that deep within the core that there may be water on the moon.
It might be, but I think it's more. I think it's something bigger than gold. I think it's more like platinum. I think it's more like metals that are more expensive than even gold. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Gold is really not that pliable. It's just very conductive. That's why we use gold
for context.
But it's actually not that indestructible. It's very easy to destroy gold and changes. But
changes shape and things like that. Break it up. Yeah, absolutely. I get that. Wow. I mean. Shit, I mean, going to the moon, taking me. I mean, I guess you could be right.
You say you used to be a trucker, right?
I was an expediter in a van, though. I wasn't doing it. I was over the road. I did everything they did, but we were doing it in vans.
Okay, so you've ridden on both coasts. You've ridden on the East Coast and you've ridden on the West Coast, right?
Yeah.
Okay, when you ride around on the East Coast, and it's pretty obvious because I do it every day. When I look out at a mountainside here in Pennsylvania, where I am, I see fire breaks.
Were they burning like methane or something like that?
No. Fire breaks like where telephone posts come through, where maybe major electrical wires go through.
Oh, you mean like going up the mountain where they don't shave the grass out the way and you can...
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I've seen... Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
That's what stops mass fire burns on the East Coast. We have forest fires on the East Coast.
That gap.
We have fire. But we also have fire breaks. California and a lot of the western states don't have that because they don't want to mess up their pretty landscape.
Mm. Well, once it goes into a neighborhood, what do? You separate the houses and the neighborhoods like that too with that fire break?
No, but it's not that big of a deal if it don't get down to the fires. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
See, what people don't understand is that these are not fires where the ground is burning. These are fires where the trees are burning.
Yeah, but in California, though, because they're talking about 8 months without rain, you don't get droughts like that on the East Coast, though, do you?
Then why don't we pump water from the East Coast to the West Coast instead of pumping?
You don't need to pump water from the East Coast at all. They got the Pacific right there. What they should do...
They really don't have a problem with water. Water is not the problem why this was a problem. The water was actually just logistics when it came to getting the water. The problem, they have plenty of water in California.
They've
already figured out how to desalt and do all that stuff. So they don't have a drought. They have droughts, but they don't
What about like what Alter Ego is talking about, the 80-mile-per-hour winds? You don't get that on the East Coast either.
Well, we do get that too, but it's just that it just doesn't sustain as long as it does out in the Sierras where it's flat at.
Because I don't see, even if they had firewalls or the break like you're talking about. I mean, if you got 8 months of no rain and you got 80-mile-per-hour winds, I mean, like, can you really stop that from getting out of hand?
Not really. That's what I'm saying. I'm wondering why everybody's making
because of Trump. Trump is saying it and they believe it.
You can't stop a hurricane from coming across the ocean either.
Yeah, exactly. But he was talking about nuking that, wasn't he? Didn't Trump entertain exploding a nuclear bomb inside of a hurricane?
Do you think nuclear fallout is worse than a hurricane?
I'm not trying to say it makes sense, but I do believe he did talk about getting rid of a hurricane by blowing up a nuclear weapon inside of it. He did say that. I'm not saying it makes sense at all.
Sometimes for people to call you stupid, all it takes is for you to open your mouth and prove them right. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And Trump is very good at doing that. But my thing is that I think sometimes he thinks he you know how they say you shouldn't think out loud. And I think sometimes he really should just think. He shouldn't think out loud. He should just stop thinking out loud, and then maybe get one of these days and say, "What do you think about this?" And I'm sure. Now I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure they would say, "Hey, man, that's pretty stupid."
He likes to be the center of attention. But my late grandfather used to say that. He used to say sometimes it's better to let people sit back and think you're an asshole than open up your mouth and remove all doubt. And he likes to talk though. I mean, like the whole, could you, putting UV light or disinfectant to get rid of COVID. That's something that he could have had his assistant ask that lady later on after the press conference is over with. But to ask that, to say that on national TV is now you're caught up in it. You're right. He could make those same crazy statements, but in private, and they would never. I'm sure Biden does it. I'm sure they all do it. But because he does it out in public, he looks crazy.
Absolutely. Tim, let me tell you something. Number one, TikTok's not going anywhere.
I hope you're right.
I'm telling you I'm right. I'm telling you why. Because I'm going to buy TikTok if nobody else buys it. You know what I'm saying?
Kevin O'Leary of Shark Tank is trying to buy it.
I know. I'll tell you something right now. You have to be a fool if they gave you the opportunity to buy it and you got the money and don't do it. You know what I'm saying?
Depends on how much they're selling it for.
You just got to be a number that's so crazy that it makes Elon Musk buying X seem like it was nothing.
I'll tell you it is. When you look at how much of our shit that China does not acknowledge the patent on, and they reverse engineer a lot of our stuff, and then they bootleg it. I don't know why we don't just do that to this. They take their shit. I mean, they would do it. I hate to say it, but just, let Elon and Trump, they both social media giants, go ahead and create a knockoff of this, and we can keep this party going.
See, this is my thing. See, I used to like Tesla before I figured out who owned Tesla. I have an F-150 and a Lightning. Okay. And I'm telling you right now, there is no way in the world that I would buy a Tesla. And it's only because, number one, it's not a very good vehicle, is what people don't understand. Just because it was first doesn't mean it's a really good vehicle. Okay. It's actually rated as one of the worst electrical vehicles that are out there.
Didn't know that.
They have a lot of problems with them. But my thing is that, and that's why I would never get one. But it being owned by Elon, I don't want TikTok to be bought by an Elon Musk or one of the regular guys. I think it needs to be bought by.
What about Mark Cuban? He used to have internet companies.
Mark Cuban's just say he's just. I think everybody on the right would hate him if he bought it.
We know that. I mean, everybody on the left would hate it if Elon gets it.
But then I don't think they would hate him. They'd hate the app. You know what I'm saying? And I think this app, what people don't understand, this app was created for kids. And we went around and made this app to what we made this app what it is. And you guys, you content providers.
Well, but we say it's made for kids. What we're doing right now, where we're interacting on a live stream, kids should never have the ability to do this. I mean, you shouldn't have two strange kids being able. I mean, they shouldn't have the ability to do this.
Why not, Tim?
Why not? Kids interacting with kids they don't know. I mean, you don't see where no room could go wrong with this. I mean, shit. Any adult could jump in there. No, I don't favor that. I don't favor it.
They limit it. There's kids that's on TikTok. They just have limited access on what they can do on TikTok.
And one of the things they should not be able to do is talk live to strangers.
Why?
You really need to know why a child should not be allowed to talk on the internet to other strangers around the world? You really need to know why on that?
To another child, yes.
Well, like in the comments, somebody talked about bullying, racism, hate. I mean, kids do this shit among each other too. I mean, I don't favor that. Yeah.
I think we need bullies.
All right, well. Why?
Because these kids can't fight. That's why they're shooting each other. Sorry about the shooting.
No, that's more. You need discipline for that. You don't need bullies. You need discipline.
We definitely need. I mean, bullies. You grew up with bullies.
Yeah.
Bullies had a place in our neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But and bullies. If you fight back, even if you lose, if you fight a bully, and you fight back, even if you get your butt whooped, that probably is the last.
Yeah, they want easy target. They want people who are submissive. They don't want to fight. I agree with that. They don't want to battle.
You can't be Nemo. You can't be a Nemo and live in the ocean. You know what I'm saying? You can't be Nemo. And so my thing is that we need bullies because people can put them in their place too.
I hear you, but I don't like children getting online and being able to talk to total strangers.
I don't think it was set up for them to have conversations. I think it was set up for them to buy stuff, trade stuff, have fun, make pictures, do drawings, and those kind of things. Then we came in, we brought the politics side of it.
Yeah.
We brought the political side to it. And the political side the adults brought is what made it bad and obvious that
they were on here just dancing and Pokemoning and stuff like that. I mean, they weren't trying to.
One of the major complaints that all of you content providers have is your freedom of speech.
Yeah.
Your ability to say what you want to say, and you're over 21, and somebody telling you, no, you can't say that.
Yeah.
You can't say GUN. You can't say.
I don't like that at all. For somebody who doesn't block, ban, or censor, and I like to have a free speech program. I don't like using fictional words like unalive and grape and all of this. I like to be able to say, I don't like that. I hate that, which is why I often get banned.
You know what I like about it?
What?
Is it makes people who just run their mouths think.
A little bit of that.
I'm just saying, just a little bit. Just a little bit. Because can you imagine how vulgar this site would be if you actually could just say anything you want to say?
Can't you do that on X now?
And that's why I don't go on X. My daughter's on X, and I refuse to see her with her ass stuck up in the air again. She's 32, but I don't want to see her.
Yeah, I got people sending me videos. I got people sending me videos from guys in Chicago getting shot and murdered, like gangbangers. I mean, they posted everything on X.
That's why I don't go over there, because I don't want to see that.
Yeah, I saw a man take his own girlfriend out with I looked like an M16. Maybe it was an AR, but I mean, she already was hit twice, landed on the ground, and he walked up and finished her off.
I think I was on Instagram, and I watched a man jump off a building and unalive himself.
Damn.
On Instagram, and they showed it. It was being covered by somebody, and they just posted it on their Instagram. It was real, Tim.
Damn. Tim. That's why I keep arguing. Hold on.
Years,
that's why I keep getting pissed. That's why I keep getting pissed
in the military. I'm not thievish. I'm telling you something. That almost. I think I needed some therapy after that.
Fucked you up in here.
Watch that person's body just explode like that from jumping.
I've seen a few jumpers, and it's loud. First of all, you'd be amazed at how loud a body is when he hits the ground. It's loud.
Right.
Yeah, it's real loud. But I mean, and then of course, the person is just, they definitely disintegrate. But that's one of the arguments I've been making with my MAGA viewers the whole time is that, they go, well, about the Haitian migrant thing. And they keep saying, well, these people ain't going to let you catch it on camera. I'm like, with all of the violence and stuff we can catch on, you're going to tell me this one town got 20,000 people in there eating cats and dogs and you can't get one video? You can get a video of people doing everything online. We're talking about people jumping off buildings and shit. And you can't find one migrant in this town that's eating a cat or a dog on video. That shows it ain't happening. I mean, because it would be videos of that shit out there.
I'll tell you something. Trump is the master of illusions. He's the master of
David Copperfield.
Yeah, he's the master of just like taking your mind off on putting your mind on this so that he could do that. And J.D. Vance came in. J.D. Vance is the one that started that eating cats and dogs stuff.
Yeah,
he started that story, and he admitted that he made it up.
Yep. And I still got MAGA trying to defend it and say it's actually happening, even though, yeah, you're right. He made it up.
They still getting mileage from that, even after he has admitted that he made the story up.
Well, we'll see how it goes. I got to move it on, Lewis, but we'll see how it goes because he's promised to get them out of Springfield. We'll see how that goes because they are legal migrants. I don't know how that's going to work, but he has promised to get them out of there.
No way. And I'm telling you something, those people that are there, that they saved that town, that if they go into that town trying to move those people out, man, those people are going to be pissed because they boosted their economy so much that it's like, hey, man, they're just like the Mexicans. They some hardworking people that just want to survive in a country. No. Tim, if you lived in Haiti, would you come to America if you If you could go anywhere else, would you go to America or would you go to Europe?
There's probably a lot more Haitians in the U.S. than there are in Europe, so I would probably come here.
But do you know why? Do you know why?
It's closer.
Because of that big ass ocean. Yeah, to go in the other direction is an impossibility.
Yeah, it's closer.
I would never, as bad as we treat immigrants in this country, come to this country.
Yeah.
And they know how bad we treat.
They're getting treated worse in their own country, though. That's the point. Where they at? I mean, Haiti is dealing with
that's the reason they're leaving.
Yeah, Haiti is dealing with a civil war right now. They can deal with a little bit of racism in America. They're dealing with a civil war.
Absolutely. So, I agree with you 100% on that. But if that ocean went in between Haiti and Europe, they probably would get treated better in Europe.
That's quite possible. I got to move it on, man. Appreciate it.
All right, Tim.
Anytime,
care, man.
Thank you.
Hey,
all right, and I wanted to play a clip and appreciate that Lewis for coming through. Why did they cross from Mexico and Florida right there? Why did they cross from? I don't quite get what you're saying there, MAGA Rex. Why did they cross from Mexico when Florida's right there? And yeah, what are you talking about? I don't know how old you are, but this time we're not in the way. Okay, you guys are responding to each other. I want you to hear this comment because Bill Maher, I've been meaning to play this earlier on the program. I think that most of you folks know who Bill Maher is. If you watch right-wing media, I'm talking about now. Bill Maher leans left. But he's just like Fetterman. Bill Maher is often on right-wing media outlets because he is often critical of woke culture, gains of the transgender community, and crazy liberalism. He's often critical of far-left progressive ideas that hurt the Democratic Party. And as a result, the right loves him. But I want you to hear this recent clip from Bill Maher. He was obviously on the Stephen A. Smith podcast. Those two appear to be friends and they hang around. And, a lot of these podcasters go from one show to the other. I think he's been on Bill Maher's show. And now this is one where Bill Maher's on his show. But Bill Maher is being asked by Stephen A. Smith, in regards to people thinking that because Bill Maher criticizes the left so much that he might be a Democrat. I want you to hear Bill Maher's response. We'll talk about it on the other side.
Berlin was a Democrat because I always knew they'd disappoint me at some point. But
I've joined your party.
Yeah, but old school liberal, yes. I mean, that's, I think, what I always was and always will be. As I say in the special, the people who are saying, oh, you're a Republican now. No, I'm not a Republican, and I never will be a Republican for all the reasons I haven't been. They're too religious. They're fiscal hypocrites who think it's awful when America spends money it doesn't have, except when they're in office, and then it's always perfectly okay. They're in denial about racism. They're in denial about the environment. They're always blaming the underprivileged when they should be blaming the overprivileged. And then they added to that shitty mixtape, they don't believe in democracy anymore. And they threw their lot in with a sociopath named Donald Trump, who thinks that elections only count when they win. So they have a sizable lead in being the more threatening party, I think, to this country. But that doesn't mean I'm...
Now, you're not going to hear any of that on Fox. You'll see a lot of Bill Maher on Fox and on the right. You're not going to hear any of that. But I want to see how you guys feel about that. You think, because Bill Maher, like I said, he's very critical of, like I said, the woke culture and, a lot of the looniness, as he might say, of the far left. But you're not going to hear any of what he just said on Greg Gutfeld or any of the shows that often use his material. None of that will be played on Fox News. But I want to see how you folks feel about it. I somewhat agree, however, I can't judge an entire political party based on some of them. You can't, I agree with you, Chris, you can't judge the whole party. But what you do is you look at the statistical probability. In other words, if you put 10,000 conservatives in a room, what is the statistical probability that the average one of them you pick out at random would think like what he said? very religious, deny racism, deny climate change, blame the little guy as opposed to the big guy. I mean, I mean, it's just, like I said, everyone is not going to be the same. Just like Fetterman, the senator in Pennsylvania, is not going to meet the ideal definition that a Republican might have of a liberal, because Fetterman is fairly moderate. Fetterman has now began, I mean, he went down to Mar-a-Lago. Senator Fetterman of Pennsylvania, he actually went to meet with Trump in Mar-a-Lago. That ain't something you would expect a normal liberal to do. So I'm just saying, from a statistical probability standpoint, what are the chances that what Bill Maher said applies to most members of the current Republican Party? Real quick before I continue, I mean, because like I said, you won't hear that on any right-wing media outlet at all. I guarantee that 80% of the people that voted for Trump are not super religious. That's interesting, Florida Blondie. I guess I'd first I'd have to find out from you your definition of super religious, because I often bring up the state of Oklahoma now forcing the Bible on kids in schools, and there's not a lot of outcry from Oklahomans. Or Texas now requiring the 10 Commandments in schools. There's not a lot of outcry from people in Texas. So it even doesn't matter if you're super religious or not. If you vote for a politician and that politician is super religious, you're voting for the politician to represent you. Lewis, appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for the support. It's kind of like, I often use the example of slavery. Only 1% of white people own slaves. Not a lot of whites own slaves. It costs too much money to own one. But if you vote for politicians that are pro-slavery, you don't need to own one. You obviously are, you're still promoting it. So, you know, this is the same thing I'm saying when you say you can't blame a whole party for something, or as Florida Blondie said, 80% of the people that voted for Trump are not super religious. No, but you're voting for people to be in power that are. These are the people that are passing these laws that are saying that if a woman, you know, has an abortion, she should qualify for the death penalty, and enforcing Bibles in school. The people you're voting for are doing it. So you might as well be super religious if that's what you're voting for. Boom, she just confirmed your point, says Steve. Yeah. I mean, I'm saying that's what I'm saying is you might as well be voting for him. What's wrong with having the Bible taught? I mean, it's better than having the woke book. You said, what's wrong? Florida Blondie says, what's wrong with having the Bible taught in schools? I mean, it's better than having the woke books they want to put there about gender confusion. The problem that I have, and I know a lot of folks may disagree, and that's fine. You can state it in the comments and I'll tackle it as such. I don't believe in blocking or banning. But the reason I have a problem with the Bible is it promotes division. It does. I mean, we are living in an environment where you can have religious freedom. When we used to be a religious country, let's say going back in the early 1900s, late 1800s, there were not a lot of religions in this country. I mean, everybody was Christian. It works well when you don't have opposition. This is kind of also the reason why you have far less crime in Republican cities than you do in Democrat cities. It's because Republican cities tend to be Christian, white, straight. You're not going to have a huge LGBT community. You're not going to have a bunch of diversity. You're not going to have a bunch of different religions. It's easy to get along when you guys are all alike. Christianity in schools works in an environment where there's not a lot of other people around. America's no longer that place anymore. A lot of Muslims live here. A lot of people from different religions live in this country now. So if you put it in schools, it's not like it used to be back in the day. You're going to have a lot of kids in that school with parents that are saying, I don't want my kid being forced to read the Bible. So that's why I don't favor it. And that's not only that, but like I said, the Bible is very divisive because it does teach you stuff like, thou shalt have no other God before me. So if a kid is sitting there and he's Muslim and he's talking about Allah, and you're talking about, your God is the one and only true God, or beware of false prophets. You guys are arguing over whose God is real. And the Christian kid can tell the Muslim kid, well, we reading from my religious book. They got the 10 Commandments on the wall. I don't see the Quran anywhere around here. That shows what you studying is fake. The whole school system is backing my religion. I don't see your shit anywhere. Other than in your mosque or whatever, we don't see any of your stuff. I mean, it leaves a lot of room for division. That should not be in school. You don't need any of that to become a successful American. You need to learn about finances. Maybe you need to go out and learn about the trades or something like that. You don't need to learn anything about religion to be a successful American, to get a well-rounded education. That should not be part of that. That's why I'm not a fan of it. It creates division. Somebody says, we can't say Happy Christmas because Christ killers run the USA. Yikes. Okay. It's because we don't want to hurt the Jews' feelings. I don't think it belongs in, I'm just simply saying, I don't think it belongs in schools. It ain't necessary. It opens the door for things like what I often say, which is most of the stories and passages in the book leave a lot of room to question, because a lot of the stuff is physically impossible, like people living to be 800 and 900 years old, and people bursting into flames and turning into piles of salt, eating, talking snakes and all of this stuff. I mean, you don't need that in the lesson. I mean, to me, that just makes it harder on the teacher, because there's so many things in there that if the kids start questioning it, all you can tell them is to pray on it, or just have faith. Well, they can do that at home. Why are they in school doing that? I don't favor it in schools. And I will say this, America has been religious most of its history, and we have not been a morally good country. So the idea that by putting religion in schools is going to make everybody act right morally, there's zero history of that. There is zero history of that. This country was doing some very immoral shit during its past when it was deeply religious. There's zero history of that. So there's no way in the hell I'm gonna ever believe that, well, if you bring religion back, everybody's going to act right. You give me some very religious countries on this planet that seem to be morally on their shit. Most of the countries that are very religious are the most immoral you can go to. So I don't buy that if you put religion in schools, all of that's going to happen. Black man says, what does that say? Black man 903 says Muslims do it. I don't know if you're saying that they do it from a moral standpoint, because if most Muslim countries oppress the hell out of women, oppress the hell out of minorities. Whatever the minority population is in that country, most Muslims are not fit. They don't treat them equally. I don't care if it's a minority Christian population, or maybe there's a minority in terms of race. The religious Arab countries do not treat minority populations or female populations well at all. In fact, most religious countries follow that same mindset. When America was very religious, we did it very hardcore towards minority populations and very oppressive towards women. We did the exact same thing in this country when we were very religious, is that we are not favorable to minority populations, and we believe women should have their place. Most religions are like that. I don't see the morals in that. The Bible condones slavery and murder. That's true too. That's in there. So why do we have to put our hand on the Bible if we testify in a court of law? It's just going back to the whole thing about, your word under God. I mean, now I know you're talking about the separation of church and state. So if you're separating church and state, why are you in court using the Bible? I personally believe that we used a few phrases in our history where we did not mean them. I often use the example of, if a relative passes away and one of your close friends come to the funeral and says, well, if I know you're going through some things right now, with losing your loved one. If you need anything, call me. In reality, they don't want you to call them. They just want to say that to you because they know you're grieving right now. You know, if you I'm sure you've heard people tell you that during times of mourning or when things are going wrong in your life. If you need anything, call me. They don't really mean that. They just want to give you something as a pep while you're going through something. Well, I believe America has used 3 phrases just like that, where they didn't really mean it. They just said it because it felt good. One is separation of church and state. Another one is all men are created equal. And the other third phrase is bring us your tired, your weary, your poor, which is written on the Statue of Liberty. They never meant any of those things. And you can see the evidence in when somebody actually tried to get them to honor up to it. They didn't mean any of those things. They never meant all men are created equal, despite saying it. They never meant separation of church and state because they clearly opened up the Bible and started writing fucking laws. And they obviously didn't mean bring us your tired, your weary, your poor, because we have been hostile to every group of immigrants that have ever come to this country. Polish, Irish, Italians, Chinese, Jewish, Hispanics, you name it. We've never been friendly to any of them. So we didn't mean any of that shit. It just sounded good. Sounded good. If you need anything, call me. And then all of this, until you picked up the phone and tried to make that phone call. Still, our U.S. citizens is oppressed. No first aid. I don't quite get what you're saying. They're constitutional oppressed. You said still our U.S. citizens is oppressed. No first aid amount. I don't understand what you're getting at there. That alphabet mafia BS has to get out of schools. Well, Trump is going to get rid of the alphabet mafia. That was one of the whole topics beginning that the show began with, is that do you believe Trump is going to live up to his promises? And one of them is making the transgender community go away. Now, I brought this up before, and I was accused of fear-mongering because I said that if Trump won the election, he was going to get rid of the transgender community. Well, how can he do that? He's not going to do that. Well, there's a quote, and I'll go ahead and play the quick clip for you. This is how you get rid of the transgender community. It's not fear-mongering. He's promised to do it. I don't know if he'll succeed, but he's promised to do it.
As part of our new credentialing body for teachers, we will promote positive education about the nuclear family, the roles of mothers and fathers, and celebrating rather than erasing the things that make men and women different and unique. I will ask Congress to pass a bill establishing that the only genders recognized by the United States government are male and female, and they are assigned at birth. The bill will also make clear.
Now, hear what he said. I will ask Congress to pass a bill that male and female are the only genders and they are assigned at birth. So you can only be a man or a woman, and you can only be designated a man or a woman at birth. So that means you can't, at the age of 18 or 19, you can't come out and say, I realize I'm a woman trapped inside of a man's body. No, you got to go by the gender you were assigned at birth. So he's basically saying in the eyes of government, you are prevented from ever being able to transition. That's getting rid of the transgender community. In the eyes of government, you no longer have the ability to transition. So when folks say that, well, he ain't going to do it, he's saying it right there. That's what he's saying is we're only going to go by what gender you had at birth. You're not going to be able to transition. So I don't care how much of a woman you look like. Your driver's license is going to say man on it. You're never going to be able to change that. I mean, so Caitlyn Jenner, for instance, her ID would have to go back to saying man on it. I mean, that's what he's saying. So when folks, well, you just fear, no, I'm not fear-mongering. He just said it. So that was the question is will he end transgender recognition? And that's what he's talking about doing is Congress will pass a law that the transgender community is no longer recognized. And a lot of folks favor that, by the way. Everybody was calling it fear-mongering, but when they actually hear it, yay, this sounds good. So it ain't fear-mongering. Not only is it not fear-mongering, it's what you want. Just come out and say you should be happy for it. Don't try to say it's fear-mongering. It's not. End the insanity, says Randy Savage. As in Macho Man Randy Savage. Something to Slim Jim. We have different chromosomes. Even our bone structure is different. Yeah, I'm not gonna argue that I don't believe, if you throw a wig on me, I don't become a woman. I just don't. But at the same time, it ain't that big of a fucking deal to me. If some dude want to call himself a woman, I do believe there might be a few laws that I would want to get passed, such as if you're going to be out dating, by law, you should have to tell somebody you were a biological male, just for safety purposes. I don't care how good you look as a transgender woman. If you were born a man, if you're dating, if you're out actively seeking intimacy, or you're in a bar trying to talk to people, you need to let that person know that you were born a man, just for safety purposes. There are people who will kill you for that. Period. So and there are some people from that community who I like to turn people out. I like a guy. No, so that part right there. I mean, there are some things about the transgender community that need to be addressed, and that's one of them. You don't go around letting horny dudes discover dicks in your pants without telling them first. Went back to somebody's house or something, y'all getting hot and heavy on the couch, and dude reach in your pants and feel a dick. That needs to be. I don't like to promote being tough on crime, but I want to be real tough on that one. I'm not talking class A felony right there. That one right there, yeah, that one, yeah, you need to definitely do whatever you can to stop that from happening. Just for safety's sake. Mike says stop it. I'm just telling you, I don't care how nice it do. Even Michael J. Fox may get his faculties together and stab the shit out of you if he reached out and feel a dick. I mean, he may stop shaking just to shank you long enough. So I'm not a fan of allowing transgender folks to go around pretending like they're a woman and not advising. Or when they're not pretending, they feel it in their, they feel they are a woman in their head, or feel like they're a man in their head. That's fine. But genitalia is genitalia. I mean, I don't care what you personally think. A dick doesn't look like a vagina to the person you're standing in front of. And it can get you killed to not advise somebody of that. So I'm just going to say that. And I know I see what you said in the comments, Black Monster, I'm going to split dick. I know the process of changing it to the other gender. Now, post-operation, I still think you should have to tell the person, even if you've had the operation and all of that, and you now have man-made female genitalia down there. I still think you should have to tell that dude or that person you're with what you were originally born as. Because even if it's totally created and you now have a man-made vagina, there's still dudes who might kill you for that. I mean, I just say the drama and quit playing the games and let people know what you are. I just be forthcoming about that. Post-op, it's a lie. Says what? I'm just simply saying you should tell people about that. That's just for safety's sake. It's called Mommy Didn't Give Me Enough Attention as a Child or Too Much. Now, Dr. Westside, Mommy Didn't Give Me Enough Attention or Too Much as a Child usually results in somebody bringing an AR-15 to school and permanently dismissing a class. That, to me, is what happens when they don't get enough attention. Who do you rather have, Trump or Kamala? I went with Kamala Harris because Trump was promising to give police immunity from prosecution in liberal cities. I'm not a fan of that. Now, to me, I don't care about the price of eggs. I don't care how much it costs at the pump. If you're talking about giving police complete immunity from prosecution, until he fixes that, for me, that disqualified him. I don't want to hear it's a joke or it was out of context. I still don't know why he said it, but he was talking about doing it in liberal cities, and I drive 80, 90 miles a day for my day job. So I'm always in the car, and that's where you generally encounter police is when you drive. The idea of getting pulled over by a cop that has full immunity is frightening. So that, for me, was a deal breaker. Even if Kamala Harris, I didn't favor everything about her, but she wasn't promising anything that was that bad to me. And that right there was real bad. Brother, everything is falling apart. I don't care how much the economy or global affairs. If I'm dealing with a cop that has immunity and can do whatever he wants to, that is worse than anything economically that could go on. Anything. There's nothing that could go. If I'm getting my ass beat by some officer and he is not going to be held accountable at all for that, no. I mean, that's like literally bending down and looking at George Floyd and telling him, well, you know, gas ain't but $2 a gallon now, though. I mean, while he's sitting there screaming out, but you know the price, you can get a dozen of eggs now for 79 cents. That's irrelevant to this dude that's screaming out. So the minute he started talking about doing that, that was the end of it for me. Hitler did what he wanted. Man, until they got him. Real quick in the comments, I can talk to you for sure. Appreciate the dialogue. Oh, I see you guys speaking it there. With exceptions based by, but he didn't say all of that though, Lotus. He didn't say all of that. That's the problem. Just like with the Muslim ban, he doesn't give you all of these exclusions that you're talking about. He makes this broad statement, and it's up to the public to try to figure out, well, he don't mean this. And then if he doesn't say it, I don't feel confident filling in the blanks for him like that, like what you're talking about. I've lost all respect now. Think of the violent crime. Do you know how many officers have been killed on duty? I don't care how violent it is out there, DMC. The police don't need blanket immunity. I just don't. If you can't do that job without having complete immunity from prosecution, go find another career. You know, I understand that it is very violent. It's a very violent profession to be in as a cop. I get that. It's not the only dangerous profession out there, though. I mean, you know how many paramedics find people on the ground that are having an overdose? They give them Narcan. The person comes back to and spits on them and tries to fight them for ruining their high. The paramedic don't get to beat the shit out of the person. I mean, there's a lot of jobs out there that are violent. How many teachers get the hell beat out of them by their students? You don't get to go around beating up kids. I don't know why, for some reason, when the cops are mistreated, we should be able to be violent. No. You do your job according to the job. You don't get to have immunity. Nobody else gets immunity. So no, I don't favor that. Just because your job is tough, you can do whatever the hell you want to. We don't even get a military immunity. And they're getting shot at. They don't even get it. So no, I don't favor giving cops immunity. I just don't. It's not just the price of eggs. The economy touches many issues. I'm not denying how important the economy is, but you're talking about the potential of being able to kill somebody and get away with it. And you're comparing that to the economy. Right? They're not even in the same galaxy as far as I'm concerned. You should not be able to harm people, maybe wrongfully incarcerate somebody. You shouldn't be able to do that kind of stuff and get immunity. You're not going to, while I understand the importance of the economy, I'm not going to rank those two things in the same conversation. One is far more important to me. Abolish qualified immunity for sure. I don't know. He said, I'm going to give police immunity from prosecution. He didn't state what kind of immunity. He just said, I'm going to give them complete, like I'm going to give them immunity. I don't know what that means. So until he explains that, that's kind of it. At least for me, that was it. I'm not gonna hope for the best. And then he gets in there and then I get, well, damn, I guess he wasn't thinking what I was doing. No, I need to know what you're talking about. And he never explained it. Man-made female genitalia that can never have an orgasm and is always patient for the rest of their life. Well, some dudes don't give a damn if she has an orgasm or not. Do like P. Diddy, put some baby oil in there and they good to go. They don't care if she has an orgasm or not. You need to stop the no snitching culture. So many unsolved black on black murders. You know, I was on, what is his name? Fox News had invited me out to New York to co-host the show. Not Tom Sullivan. I used to call him all this. Back when Fox News Radio, Brian Kilmeade still does it. I think Geraldo was doing it for a while, but I was talking to, it was Tom Sullivan and John Gibson. I used to call in a lot. And I would debate on air with them so well. They invited me out there, and I'm on air debating with them one day, and it was a state trooper that was on there, and he leaned right, and we debating back and forth. And he said something similar to what one of my viewers just said. You need to stop the no snitching culture in the black community. DMC says so many unsolved black on black murders. And I told a state trooper, how can you tell the black community they need to stop the no snitching culture when you have the same no snitching culture among your people? You can't go and snitch on a bad cop out in the open. You got to go hide when you snitch on a bad cop, just like we do in the hood. If you go and tell on one of your brothers in blue and all of your other brothers in blue see it, you might not even get backup when you need it. So you're the last person to tell us we should not have a no snitching culture. The blue wall of silence is the same damn thing. And there is no denying that exists. There's no denying that shit exists. That anytime one of them do something wrong, the first thought is to circle the wagons and protect that person. I mean, everything from the Rodney King beating to the recent issue with George Floyd. How many cops were standing around watching that shit? You think that, does any of their paperwork show that they wrote down this dude is wrongfully getting his ass kicked? No, all of you guys went back, your stories matched, and you all told the same lie to the department. But yet you want to go to the hood and tell them folks who ain't trained, who don't work together, they should all snitch on each other. Good luck with that. You don't even do it. So, and he admitted, the trooper admitted, he's like, well, I guess you got a good point. Yeah, damn right I got a good point. You lead by example. So, I mean, just like we would like to have a lot less bad people in the hood, maybe people would think better of the black community if we didn't ignore some of the crimes. Same thing applies to the police. Your relationship wouldn't be so bad with the community if you also got rid of this no snitching culture and got rid of some of your own bad apples in your department. And that was the end of that conversation. That was the end. You'd be amazed at how many folks on Fox News, of all places, were on Twitter at the time saying that, I don't agree with nothing this guy say, but he's right about that. I mean, I'm just saying. So I appreciate what you're saying to get rid of the no snitching culture, but it's got to be, it can't just be in the hood. It's got to be everybody like that. Trump later clarified immunity on a case-by-case basis, says Lotus Flower. Lotus Flower, you saying that when Trump said he's going to give police immunity from prosecution, he later clarified immunity on a case-by-case basis. I mentioned this earlier in the show. You only get a first, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Meaning that what you say the first go round is what people run with. Remember when Kamala Harris said she wouldn't do anything different from Biden when she was on The View? She later cleared it up and came up with some things. It's too late. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. And the right continued holding her accountable to what she said the first time. They didn't pay attention to any of the ways she tried to rephrase it and clear it up. What she said the first time is what they went with. What Trump said the first time about giving police immunity from prosecution, that's what people go with. What he said the first time about a Muslim ban, that's what people go with. Yeah, later on, he started talking about it's for Syria and Yemen, and it's only for these countries. What you say the first time is what people go with. So if it applies to Kamala, it's got to apply to Trump. And what Trump said the first time is nothing about qualified, nothing about case by case. He said, I'm going to give police immunity from prosecution. That's all he said. And it stuck. It stuck. I suggest people need to go on ride-alongs with the police to see what their job is all about, especially in big cities. I think they kind of know, Tanya. I mean, Live PD was a big show on A&E for a while. I mean, obviously cops. I mean, people know what's going on. I mean, I don't think going on a ride along with police would make me come home thinking they deserve immunity. I actually believe in addition to having a snitch culture where you do your best to get rid of bad cops, I think the biggest thing that would benefit cops, in addition to pointing out bad cops, as I said, is actually training them de-escalation tactics. I think a lot of drama the cops go through is defending egos and shit like that. Pull somebody over and he's doing nothing but talking shit to the cops, calling them pigs and everything, which is all protected by free speech. You can cuss at a cop. It's protected by, and oftentimes the cops can't take it. And instead of walking away from the dude, they actually escalate the situation. So now they dragging the dude out of the car, trying to arrest him or whatever, and he's fighting, and who knows where it goes from there. Where they could have just heard him say a few curse words and left. That's all it, I mean, so I'd say de-escalation would probably be a better thing for them to know. You're out here to serve and protect the public. You're never here to serve and protect your ego. If he's not committing a crime, leave him alone. That's probably the biggest thing that they need to be taught. If it's not a crime, leave him alone. And they just don't like to do that. A lot of issues have happened simply because somebody was talking shit and they didn't like it. And before you know it, somebody's getting arrested, somebody's getting beat up, or somebody's getting shot. Looking in the comments, this was this is now. You mean the 60s? He said this was the 1960s, though. Tons of cops on the force right now as we speak that are ego trippers. You know right now, if you get pulled over by the police, let's say you're speeding, you get pulled over. And when he walks up to your car, it's always you fucking pigs trying to revenue raise. Every time I drive on this highway, it's one of you fucking pigs. That is 100% legal. You think you're going to walk away with just that speeding ticket? Now all of a sudden you're getting the ticket for tenths. Maybe your license plate light is too dim. Your tire tread. I mean, he's walking around the car adding shit onto it now because he doesn't like what you're saying. That's what I'm talking about. Escalating shit. They do that. We know they do that. That shouldn't, if they could get that mindset out of them, do not escalate. A lot of drama would not happen. A lot of drama would not happen. More kids die by guns than any other reason. I've heard that. I'm not 100% sure, but I have heard that gunfire is a leading cause of death for children in this country, which is fucking sad. I mean, really sad. And I hear that. I was watching a YouTube video earlier today where they're talking about, this was a 2A. You know, I watch a lot of pro-gun, like Colin Dior and some of them folks. I watch a lot of pro-gun content creators. And they're talking about they believe the Supreme Court is going to completely get rid of gun permits. So that all you got to do is just turn 18 and you can now buy and carry a gun anywhere in the United States. They believe that's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but I do think if it does, you're going to have more people getting shot. There's just a lot of people in this country that are not mature enough to have a gun. I'm talking about cops right now that can't control their egos. And they got training. So if that does happen, you're going to have more people getting shot. I mean, there's just a lot of people that do not have the mental faculties to carry around a lethal device. They should not have it. How will people just start acting right? They're not going to act right. That's the problem. They're not. You have to go to school for 8 years to practice law, but only a few months at the academy to enforce it. Yeah. That is true. You don't have to have much education to become law enforcement. The trans person can never have an orgasm again, and they will always be a pain. I don't know if that's true. If you are transgender, post-op, you can never have an orgasm again. I don't know if that's true. I mean, yeah, I'd have to see. I don't know. I don't believe that's totally true. I'd be curious. I don't know. I mean, they may not be able to produce, if you're a female, I don't want to get too graphic, but I guess you probably would not be able to produce semen. But you don't have to produce anything to get that sensation. I have a friend that had what did he have? I think he had testicular cancer or something like that. And they removed stuff down there. And he said him and his wife still get it on, but he doesn't produce anything. You know, he can bust, he can feel it. He just ain't looking like Peter North at the end of it. For some of you folks who remember the 80s movies, you know what Peter North was capable of. He ain't able to come close to Peter North. Let's just say that. He ain't producing nothing. So it is like that. I mean, it is what it is. Anyhow, I see Double Luck. You must know. Some of you guys know who Peter North is. So, wow. All right, let me stop. All right, so I'm just saying, but he said he can't produce nothing, so it is what it is. Tim, this is Draco chat section, and you got me at the back of the bus. What do you say? Like you don't see these guys. I see you over there, Draco. Anyhow, folks, I do got to get my ass up early in the morning. Tim, the immunity speech was about liberal cities that had removed qualified immunity. He didn't say all of that, though. That's the problem I keep talking about, Draco, is that I've played the clip a million times on this show. He talked about giving police immunity from prosecution. All that other shit that you guys are adding in to soften it did not come out of his mouth. You're saying the immunity speech was about liberal cities that had removed qualified immunity. You're disingenuous and inflammatory. None of that came out of his mouth. None of it. If that had came out of his mouth, I would have pointed out what you're saying. He didn't say any of that, though. So I'm not going to attribute that to him. This is what happens when you don't speak clearly. People are interpreting your shit everywhere. So I'm going to leave it at that. He said, and Michael points out another good point, too, where he talked about giving the police 1 hour to be violent. In addition to him talking about giving the police 1 hour to be violent, he also talked about when you normally put your hand behind the suspect's head to protect their head when you put them in the car. He's made it clear that he wants police to have more power to be violent to people. I mean, a bunch of different angles. In addition to the immunity thing, like Mike is pointing out, he talked about like a purge type environment. Give the police 1 hour to be violent to bad guys. And then, of course, I brought up what he said at the Academy a few years back, where when you're putting a suspect in the car, you protect their head don't protect their head. So you can bang their head up against the car. I mean, it's pretty clear he wants the cops to be violent. I mean, all of these are different statements he's made at different times. So it doesn't matter how much you try to finagle the whole police immunity thing. He's made other statements in addition to bringing back stop and frisk as well. It's clear he wants to give police a lot more power than they currently have. I don't think that's up for debate. He's made way too many different statements alluding to it. You can try to play games with one of those statements, but you can't make them all make sense. There's too many of them. So yeah, I don't buy that. I don't buy it because he don't say it too many different ways that he essentially wants a police force that has the power to be more violent to its citizens. It is what it is. We have to take people's rights away. America needs to go back to its roots. Damn. Maybe it's getting late. It is your boy, Handsome Liberal. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I got a motherfucker here right now saying, make America great. Says, we need to take people's rights away. America needs to go back to its roots. Damn. I need to go to bed. It's your boy, Tim, the Handsome Liberal. I'll catch y'all tomorrow. If you like this type of dialogue, I'm going to ask you folks once again, subscribe to the program for my YouTube viewers. Feel free to follow the program on TikTok. Monday through Friday is where you'll find us. We're all about free speech. We don't block, ban, or censor even those who want to take our rights away and go back in time. Catch you guys tomorrow. Jesus Christ. Gotta go to sleep and dream that shit off.